Hello everyone. In our today's video, we're going to create a ChatGPT clone using Next.js. So that will be the front page view for our website and also for that mobile devices website. So both are in the both side. It will be responsive. So now here, as you see, we can just click on the new chat to start with to just contributing a new chat. Also, you can just type here and hit enter. It will also open a new chat, and we have also have a options to go in the sign in and also an option to just view in any other differentiate for ChatGPT. And here, as you see, you can also toggle through the different models of ChatGPT. For by default it will just take that GPT-4 Turbo. So now in the history tab, as you see, please sign in to view history. So now we are going to connect the OpenAI to get the responses with our particular OpenAI key, which will create our secret key, and then also we will connect our Firestore database to get a real-time responses, and then we're gonna show it here in our user interface. So now as I'm not signed in, but still I can ask a question. So that's the way the ChatGPT work in real time. Even you are not logged in, you can ask a question and get the result. So now let's ask something. Hi GPT, how to learn programming in Rust? Enter. So now once you hit enter, that's using as a from, as you see, we're getting a message that ChatGPT is thinking, and there will be a particular perception, like whenever you hit for particular any answer or anything of the like in responses, it will take a bit of time because it will go through two separate scenario, and I'm making it in the locally. So sometimes for the first few instances it will take a bit of time. Later on, when there will be multiple caching scenario, it will go very quick. And also, by the way, we're gonna deploy it, and you will see that the deployed version also we have already ChatGPT. So that will be our deployed version, which I'm going to also show you later on. So here in the ChatGPT, we got an answer. As you see, the responses we got. But now, if you come here, we also reload that one. We should be able to see our messages. So now that messages is not logged in user, right? So I will keep that messages in a separate branch on that separate bucket or separate data set, which is going to be as unknown. So now in the messages, we have two separate messages. One is coming from me, which I asked the question, and another, the responses, is coming from the ChatGPT. So now let's go and try to make logged in, right? So I'll go click on the sign in, and that will feel like a ChatGPT sign in page here. So we use the two separate factor, one for the sign in with the Google and another for the GitHub. So let's try to sign in with Google, and after click, so my email is available. I will just try this one. Let's see. Okay, continue. As you see, now I have my profile image, and I can also go a different scenario, and also I can make sign out. So now, as you see here, the chat history is there, no chat data. Okay, so let's try to make some chat. So create me a React component named history. Enter. So the same thing, after we hit the enter, as you see, once we are coming in that particular chat ID with the particular chat scenario, so it's still thinking. So after rendering the messages, it will provide. So now as you see, we can get the messages here down here, and it's working simply fine. So okay, that's cool. Okay, enter, and it will also respond very quickly as a simple message. If we just go back here and hit a reload here, we should be able to see our users, the email which we logged in here right now. So now that's the mail here. So if I click on that particular mail, I should be able to see the chats, and from the chats I can view the ID, and now I'm having the messages. So all the messages which I asked for that one, and as you see, that's the message, that's the questions which I asked here, create me a React component, and the responses should be, that's the second responses, and that's the first one which provided by ChatGPT. So now, as you see, the story is just saved here. If I just go and create a new chat, it will open a new chat, right? And if I just say, hi, how are you? Enter. and particularly it will just give you that instances. Now I will create multiple chat, right? So now I can roll back through this chat. Like if you see, if I changing, that ID is changing, right? So if I in that particular chat, if I write something, hi there, and you will see the responses should be coming on that particular chat, and I can delete from here also. Now this one is active, right? So this chat is active one I delete, and immediate the next one is coming on active. If I go back here and delete this one, the last one is coming active, and you see how animation is coming here just to make it looks quite cool, right? So if I just delete the first one, delete, immediate next one, delete, immediate next one should be available. Let's delete one, okay, and also delete this one, no chat history. So that's the way we can just go and create different scenario, a multiple scenario here, which can be very much applicable for the chat history and other parameter. And we're gonna create everything from the scratch. As you see what I told you, if we just change that particular, like if we go in ChatGPT latest, and also we can just make hi there, write me which model you are. So it will also go and answer your which model is here. There's a GPT-4 model, so especially this latest and other also coming in a GPT model. So let's 3.4 turbo. So the same thing I'm gonna ask. Okay, so now this the 3.4 turbo should be coming, this one, answer. So previously, okay, hello, I'm GPT, a language model. So it's just asking that, not answering that is a GPT-4 and others, just passing with that. See the difference between the same questions to the various models. So that's probably the most interesting thing here. So I'm going to close that, because for the references, we are going to keep this one, the live one, which I deployed in the Vercel. And most probably we're gonna keep that one so that we can easily find out all the changes, and then we're gonna just copy up how the things which we can build. So also for the mobile devices, which is not recurring right now because we're gonna develop in our web, so it will be fine. And to develop that one, we'll use the Next.js. And to create application with the Next.js, as we are going to use the Next.js, is very simple, straightforward. As you see, that's if you just go in the documentation and getting started with the installation process, we can just go and grab that code, the npx create next app at latest. Now there is a difference between if you're using the yarn or pnpm, but the code is structure going to be same. So now what I'm gonna do, that's I have one empty directory here. So this directory I'm gonna open within my terminal here. So on the terminal I can run that command. So here I'm gonna just, okay, I'm gonna just paste that code, and here I'm gonna give a name which is going to be ChatGPT clone, and hit enter. And after entering, it going to ask me several questions. As you see, that's already written here. And if I just go, yes, I want to the entire development will be in the TypeScript, and we want ESLint, Tailwind CSS, source directory, yes, app router. That's it. So everything we said yes. Now it going to install all the required dependencies to just run a template application within the Next.js. Okay, everything is quite good. So installation process is done. So if I just put ls, and as you see, ChatGPT clone is created. And also here, if we go within the build directory, you see that one file already folder is created, which having that entire ChatGPT. So what I'm gonna do now, your responsibility is to open it within the code editor. First, we're gonna make cd, and then we're gonna make ChatGPT dash clone just to go within that project. If we put ls, as you see, now we are in the project directory. So now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just write code space dot to open it within my editor. So the project is already open within that editor. And to run our project, we need to just open our terminal here, and from there in the terminal we just need to run one simple command as you use the npx. So by default it will be npm, so npl run dev, and after running that command it will open our application in our local host 3000, enter. So now let's explore some default setup which our Next.js is providing for us. Okay, so that's the setup, which is the Next.js a template project. So we don't want anything from the template scenario. So as you see in the root, in the source directory here in the page, so everything you are viewing there is coming especially from the page.tsx. So I'm gonna just copy just select that entire div, and I'm gonna take a main tag here, and here I'm gonna just write that chat GPT clone and save. As you see, we're having one ChatGPT clone, and others which is not require types import I'm going to remove. And also in that layout, just keeping that not a layout, in that global.css, just keeping that 3 line, I'm going to remove all other line here and hit save. As you see, now I got a clean build for our application. So now what we're gonna do, we're gonna start building our app within that scenario. I'm gonna make it half so that you can just have a good view on that perception. So now, especially what kind of things we're going to have it here. Okay, so first thing first, in that page we're gonna have a different scenario. First, let's just make that one. So as you see, in that particular instant we have one sidebar, then in our main we have the other properties, right? So that's the one which we are going to generate. Okay, I think it's support. Okay, let me just check it on. Okay, now it's good. Okay, so now what kind of things we're going to build? First, this one, it will come in particular instances like all the pages, right? The different is going to happen once we are logged in. So first thing first, we're going to create some parameter without the login portion, right? So first, in that layout, let's just roll back to the layout, and we're going to show what kind of things we are going to have it here. In that layout, so that's the children, right? So before the children going to appear, I'm going to just cut everything, and I'm gonna put within a div here and hit save, so that all the children going to be applicable within that div. So let's just put, and after that div I'm gonna make that class name, and the div should be flex. Just keep it flex, that's it. And after the div I'm gonna cut it again. Oops, I think I got the closing tag also. Okay, so first in that instances we're gonna get one sidebar here, so it will be our sidebar which is going to give us that properties. And after the sidebar also we're gonna get another div which going to be, so I'm gonna put within that div, and here after that particular instances we are going to get our header. So first we will get the sidebar on the top, which because the sidebar and header should be applicable to all the pages. So now let's rock and roll with the sidebar. So here we're gonna cut it again, and here we're gonna take a div, and within that div we're gonna paste our sidebar. So let's just go in our source directory, and within the source directory we're gonna take a new folder which are going to be our components. PO maybe, yeah, components. And within the components we're going to create a file which will be our header.tsx. I'm going to run that command RAFCE to just create a React Native snippet, and I'm going to directly inject that one. First will be header, and the second file it will be our sidebar. So that will be sidebar.tsx. So one is our header, one is our sidebar. So I'm gonna just go jump in on our layout, and here instead of that I'm gonna grab our sidebar, save. So you see the sidebar is there, and of course we're gonna have our header here also. So I'm gonna also pass our header. So we have two things, one sidebar, one header, and within that parameter we have our other properties. So how we gonna make that things to look pretty much cool? So let's just make, so we should be able to have some background color properties. So let's just make class name bj should be black. I'm going to put a black color, and also if you're going to follow some color pattern, you can just define that one within your color parameter. But what I'll prefer in this application is to go in that black and white. So just a simple scenario which I'm going to follow. And after that, so the background color is going to be black, and text going to be, let's put up gray of 200 just to see how it going to be happen. And after that let's just make max width. I'm going to provide 250, like 250 pixel only. Okay, that will be the maximum width it's going to be take. It will go no more than 250 pixel, and height should be screen. So entire screen height resolution it will take, and overflow Y should be auto for that instances, and also should be, and I'm gonna make that whenever it gonna go in a medium screen like the one which we are having now, like more than medium smaller screen, should mean width should be, I'm going to provide the minimum width of 15 RAM. You can also put it in the pixel, so no worries about it. So that will be our minimum width. So if you are not going to give a RAMs, let's make that 200 pixel. As you see, so better, I think 220 it will be a perfect ratio on that. So that's our sidebar, right? So now after the sidebar, we should be able to grab our header, right? So to go and just make particular instances on that header, I'm going to also try to make it just be keep it as simple, because I don't want to create so many fancy thing here, just to make a clean picture here so that we should be able to get other scenario. So first thing first, I'm going to create a button here which going to say us that chat, it will be ChatGPT. Okay, save. You see the ChatGPT is now probing here, and I'm gonna just go and grab two more scenario here. Later on we're gonna go and create those viewpoint, so how we can maximize that and how we can align with that one. But right now we are just going to go and grab that only two separate scenario. One will be for GPT, and another should be providing a link button here, which going to be provide as the sign in, and the href should be grabbing us to our it's my bad. Href should be just taking us to our sign in page. So we have two separate scenario here. So now as we have the two, we can just go and maximize and create in a different norm. So what we can do is that put a class name here and make that flex item center justify between, just to keep push everything in between. And for that instances also, what we're gonna do is to create some separate scenario as we are providing the justify between, and then we're gonna make margin, it should be 2.5. so 2.5 we're gonna put margin, so it will just contradict from the both side. Justify between is not working. Why? What's wrong with that? Flex. Oh, I think it's not grabbing the width maybe. So we're gonna make it as an like we're gonna provide a height of 10 also, and then we're gonna make it an absolute scenario, right? And width, we're gonna provide a full width of that perceptions. So now as you see, it should be applicable to see here. ChatGPT clone, where is the sign in? Nowhere to see. Did we just mislead something on that? It should be somewhere available. Okay, let us find that one in a different scenario. So that's one the button, and that's one the link, and okay, so with full, and what I'm gonna do is to from top it will be 0, left it will be 0, hit save. Yeah, now we can see. So but we can see it properly, but there is some gapping on that portion, so we're gonna also make that one looks to be good. So let's go in that our layout. We're gonna work in the layout in a bit so that it will be getting a much more good scenario and good sense here, because we need to make that one as a relative also. So in the class name, we're gonna provide a background color. Again, I'm saying you can put the background color as a variable and then you can use it. So it will be 212121. So that will be the background color for our that purposes, and I'm gonna make it a flex 1. So all the available space it will be taken by it, right? And height should be screen, and also overflow should be hidden, and I'm gonna make it relative as I am making our that one as an absolute. And also what I'm gonna do, the text should be gray of 200. Okay, done. As you see, now we can go and see all the scenario here, but here something is not making sense because that 2 is not looking at the perfect way it's supposed to be. Don't worry about it, we're gonna fix that right now. So here in the header, so let's go in the header and we're gonna see why it's not making sense on that. So first thing first, so it's getting the weight, and why it's not taking that? If we just make within a button, okay, it's it's actually taking, but it's not getting any good shape here. So I'm gonna keep this one right now, and then I'm gonna go within my page here, right? So that will be in my page. From where I'm, oh, okay, I didn't save it. It's supposed to go, yeah. Now as you see, I didn't save that one, so that it was just keeping here. And also we need to make an alignment here. So let's go in the header again. We can fix that. Yeah, we need to fix some particular scenario here. And what we're gonna do is that from padding left, we're gonna provide that padding left, it's going to be 2, and from padding right we're gonna make it as 12. So hit save and it will just come with an in between. Okay, now it's looking perfect. Okay, cool. And for that GPT, for that button, also we can put some class name here, and before putting the class name we should also having one icon here. And for the icon we're gonna use that React icons, and that will be their website. And it's very simple, it's straightforward to use that one. You just need to grab and copy their link here. So npm install React icons, and from here what you need to do is to take a new terminal. So let's grab that and pasting the code which we just copy from there, hit enter. So after doing there, it will just open, like install all this particular package. And what's the kind of icon which we need is that it should be that like for the down icon, down arrow icon. As you see, you can just now select any of the icon you want. You just go there, you just copy that and use it within your application. So it's that much simple it is. So we need actually for this header I'm gonna use one icon here. Two icons should be applicable here. I'm gonna just grab it one right now. So that's the icon, this chevron down, I'm gonna use that. So after that GPT, I'm gonna just alternatively enter this icon. Okay, cool. Later on we're gonna use also for our which we can say that later on we're gonna use that headless UI after configuring, because that's not that much important. So we can keep it in that next variance. So in the class name we're gonna make it flex and item center, hit save. You can see center align and giving a gap of 1. And also we're gonna make a background color. So that background color also it should be go with F2, no, not F2, should be 2F and 2F. So that's the color we will use. And whenever we're gonna hover, the hover BG should be black. And also if with the font should be semi bold and tracking should be white, it's safe. As you see, okay, good. And then the padding X should be 3, padding Y should be 2. Also you're gonna make that, we're gonna provide a rounded scenario, rounded. Let's put LG. Rounded should be LG. Okay, cool. So as you see, yeah. And now we can also provide a particular duration. So duration should be 300. So that's the one kind of sense we are just creating right now. And then also for that sign in method, so what we whenever we're gonna see the sign in, we're gonna just provide some class name for it, so it will also look pretty nicer here. So in the class name we're gonna make it text, small text, and also the font should be semi bold, and hover with it. Whenever we're gonna hovering, the text should be white, duration 300. As you see, okay, cool. If we click right now, we don't have any sign in page, so it will not find anything right now. So we're gonna create it later on, but before going further we're gonna just work on that sidebar portion. And before going to sidebar, if we just come back here and put a p tag, should be our home page here. And if you save, as you see, that's in the top, because we make our pages as an absolute norm. So we need to work on a bit on our main tag. How we can work, put a class name. You can also wrap it with a container. It will also work just fine, but I'm gonna just make that in that instances. Height should be screen, or you can just make it the way you want. Flex, we're gonna make it as a flex column property. Item should be center, justify should be center, padding X should be 2. Hit save. Okay, you see it's in the center align. So now I'm gonna take another div here. So another div, put an h2 tag, which should be what can I help with. A simple message we're gonna pass here. So put a class name here, and then the text should be Excel. Whenever MD screen should be text should be, make it a 4 Excel. Okay, 4 Excel, and also not 4 Excel, I think 3 Excel should be perfect. Yeah, that's good. Font should be semi bold, and text should be, let's put that white, or by default the text which we are affecting here, that's the default text should be, or we can make the text white. White is looking much more good and impactful here. So now that's the one tag here, and after that we're gonna have one more parameter which should be that in that particular div we're gonna just put that chat input, and after that particular div we're gonna should have another div which should be that ChatHelp. So that's two scenario which we're gonna create. So that's the one, what can I help you with, and then our like for that input box, and then we have our default scenario, the other parameter. So how also in that scenario in the sidebar we need to work a bit, but before going there I'm gonna just arrange that one in much more further level. So pull class name should be max width should be 4 Excel, and mx should be auto. Hit save, so it's already in the middle, and then we're gonna make flex should be in column segment. Okay, done. Item should be center, gap should be 5, and y is not injecting here right now. I just, we didn't provide any padding, any px like padding axis like vertical horizontal axis, so I'm gonna put a padding horizontal as 4. So now what we need to do, we need to create a chat input component, right? So we're gonna come here and make that let's put chat input.tsx or fce. So here we're gonna combine our chat input, and then we're gonna also open a new file which going to be chathelp.tsx. So let's roll back, put all together here. So instead of that one we're gonna just provide that chat input here, and also particularly here it will be that ChatHelp. Hit save. So now we have two particular scenario here, so we can just now work instantly just how we can create those scenario. For the chat input, basically we're going to having an input field, and then we also going to have this scenario here which we're gonna write something, and then we're gonna just hit something to go and create the scenario. So how we can do that? So in that div I'm gonna take a from element here, and this from, it will not take any action here, but we're gonna make it on submit instances. So first I'm gonna take an input field here which the type should be the text, and the placeholder should oops, not the key, it should be placeholder, and that one it will say message chat GPT. Save. Okay, cool. So now we have one input from, and now we also need to make it more perfectly aligned. But before going any further, I'm going to go in the top layer of the div. So width, it will take the full width, and flex should be column. Okay, what's wrong here? So flex should be column, and after that let's make that item center, justify center, and the max width going to be 3 Excel. Okay, and then mx should be auto, and the padding I'm gonna also make a padding top, so padding top should be 3. Let's save. So now as I create that one, in the from parameter I'm gonna just make a background color which is white, and in that white I'm gonna provide a 10% of opacity, and also I'm gonna make it rounded or full rounded. Okay, still you will not see, it will not be visible right now, and make a flex item center, padding x should be 4, padding y should be 2.4, so make it 2.4, and 2.5 I think it will be better, and width should be full. Hit save. As you see, now we're getting that scenario, right? So what we are expecting right now, we are now facing that things is working. So how we can, if we come back here, as you see, it's taking the full space, but here it's not taking the full space yet. So what's wrong here? So we're gonna find it in a way. So first thing first, let's just go in our input field. So in the input, put a class name, and now here I'm gonna make the class name on that. Okay, so the background color should be transparent, and as you see, it's just getting the overall background color, and the text should be the default text is just providing. That's cool. Okay, or I can make that text should be white, and the placeholder text should be gray of 200. I think that will be quite okay. Or we can make it as a 4 or 3 or 4. Yeah, that up to as your choices. And after that, we're gonna make that padding X should be 3 and outline should be none. It will take the full width. As you see, if I just come back here and if we type, it's just taking the full width scenario which we are providing right now. So now one thing should be pending here. Why is not taking the full spaces here? So that's the I think we need to also, okay, max width. I'm gonna just remove those kind of max width portion. Let's see where we are stacking right now. So if we go in the chat input here, so here in the chat input, save, no, I think the problem is in that scenario. Maybe the chat input the main hide screen. So that's the div which is handling all the parameter. Let's put a background color of red. Let's see. Okay, here is the issue. So if we just make a full width, yeah, that issue is just gone. So I think the common scenario is just having that problem. So let's just roll back to the chat input and we can just go start working the one which we are just keeps facing beforehand. So now as you see, okay, quite good. And even we go in a smaller screen, okay, that's giving us the boost. So now in that particular instances, if we are make padding access of 4, we can make it as 8. Let's see. Not that one. So here we can make padding top and padding X should be 4. Okay, cool. Now it looks perfect. So now what we need to do is to create a separate scenario. One should be the tooltip, one should be that arrow icon. So these two scenario we need to create right now. So what I'm gonna do is that in that particular instances, after that form, we're gonna make also that TV, it should be paperclip. Okay, so that's the icon which we are going to use. So one will be this icon and another icon also going to have a button, and within the button we're gonna also make that I am arrow up right. Okay, it's not showcasing arrow up right. I think the second one, yeah. So that's the one we're going to use. So we should have two icon particularly. And now here what we need to do is we're going to give emphasis of that input. So entire width, it should be going to the input field, and others we are just going to make that in a good way. So now for the paperclip, let's put some class name here. The text should be 2XL, not 3XL, should be 2XL. And then I'm gonna make a minus rotation, so rotate, so minus rotate of how many, we can make it as a 45 degree just to make it align. Okay, that's cool, quite good. And now the text which is now here, I think text, I'm gonna put it a white text here, white, done. And for the button also we're gonna make a class name here, and the same thing for the button, which we can do, the padding should be 2.5, okay, and rounded should be full, and we're gonna make the text of black, and we're gonna make a background color of white. It's saved. Okay, cool. And now whenever it is disabled, we are going to make it busy white of 30 pixel. Okay, so that will be happen if our button is disabled. Okay, and also for the button parameter, which I'm gonna do is to just grab that one and also placing that same scenario here. So Control B, save. Hey, where it has gone? So yeah, the text I'm just providing the text white, should be the text should be black. Done. Okay, and also in the black we can just provide how many percentage if we want, like 80%. It will just go and grab that scenario. And for that button, I'm not gonna give it 2XL, I'm gonna make it just a small button here. Okay, done. So now when the button should be activated, like now anybody can click on that button, right? If you click also, as you see, the loading is happening. So we need to make that disable, and also we need to make it enable. We're gonna do it later on. And below of that particular button, especially the form, we also going to have another portion which going to be providing us our, okay, let me cut that. It should be that ChatGPT can make mistake, check important info. So that will be one portion here. And after that portion, also for the smaller screen, we also going to have particularly here, we should be model selection parameter, but not now, whenever we're gonna hit in the smaller screen, because in the bigger screen, it should be coming on the sidebar. So especially right now, also we're gonna make a separate scenario, but we're gonna just make a small scenario right now, which going to make it here, so it will be const, and here we're gonna make that prompt messages prompt and set pt, and should be use state hook, and by default it should be empty. Okay, empty. And also, as we are using the hook, we need to make our application layer in this side, it should be use client. And now what we can say it here, whenever we're gonna just make something relative in relative differences here, so it will be on change, and we're gonna take a value of e. It will be set prompt should be e dot target dot, not should be value. And also for that particular value, it should be that our prompt value. Okay, cool. And for the button here, we can also make it a disable button available. Whenever it gonna having no prompt, it should be as working as a disable button. As you see, it's disable, so you cannot click here, and even here if you type, it will not work, right? So if I make something, you see, now it's enabled. If I make something here, only then you can write something and is fixing it as an enabled. So for the text here, also make that text should be font, we can make as a font as medium. Okay, now it looks good. And let's make tracking should be white. Okay, cool. So now if we just hit reload, so as you see, nothing here is not selectable. If we make something, it's just getting activated. Okay, cool. So after that scenario here, we're gonna come back here as we're gonna create the prompt and create all the scenario here, but not right now. Later on, we're gonna fall back here. We're gonna just fix the design first. So in the ChatHelp, what kind of things we are going to pour in here? So in the ChatHelp, I'm gonna just go and grab one data layer here, which we are going to just drop it here. So that will be the data layer, and also I'm gonna grab the icon. So that will be the icons. You can use the different icons, but I'm gonna just go with that work. So what's the data it's having here? It's having that same create image, get advice, and the similar. You can change that data here, that's icon here. I'm just going to keep it as simple. And as you see, the ChatGPT and also create next app, that's not looks good. We should be able to do that in instances. So what I'm gonna do is that in that particular source, I'm gonna go grab my images, right? So on that particular instances, I'm gonna just grab my assets here so that we can just go and mix finishing in a proper way. So in that assets, so I think it's not coming here yet. So I'm gonna copy that from my previous project and I'm gonna paste it here. Okay, so now that's the images here. One is for the GitHub image, one is for the Google image, one is for the logo light, which is this one I'm not gonna use. That's the one I'm gonna use here, logo light. And in the index file, I'm just grabbing that all the images and importing here directly. Okay, now in that ChatHelp, what we're gonna do is to, in particular instances, we're gonna make that similar fashion and create the design here. So what I'm gonna do is to map through that project, should be ChatHelp. Let's just go and grab the data. I think chat data we create, yeah, chat data.map, and here let's put an item, and also we're gonna make it an index, as we also need to provide a unique key props. So we're gonna make in return okay, not the comma but the parameter. Now here we're gonna just introduce one div, and within that div we're gonna make that icon here, then the text. So here first we're gonna make a p tag here, so then we're gonna provide that item dot title, so that will be there. And for the class name, should be providing the class name, but first thing first, we're gonna provide that key, which going to be index key. If we go back here, as you see, create image, get advice, and all the scenario is just pouring right now. So here put a class name which should be full, and make it a flag should be column by default, md, and whenever it's going to hidden medium screen range, the flag should be raw properties, and gap should be, let's put a gap of 3. Yeah, I think that's cool. And flex column, I think md also should be making that item should be center align, just coming everything in the center. Why not is coming in the center, and also we can make that justify center maybe. Yeah, cool. Now it's coming here. So now in that particular instances, we're gonna have this one parameter, then we're gonna have a condition, item dot icon. If icon dot icon is available, then we're gonna hit a span tag, not that span, the smaller span. And here what we're gonna do is to grab that item dot icon. And why we are doing in that instances, as you see what we have title, we have icon, we have icon color. So now in the last one we have only more, no icon color. So we are putting is in condition, if there is an icon, only then it will render that parameter. And for the icon, put a class name, or and that one should be text, should be Excel. Cool. And now for the particular color, how we can deal with that, we're gonna just directly put the style here, and in the style, the color layer, we should be providing that item, which the color we have, item dot icon color. Hit save, and as you see, the color is changed. For that help one, we can just roll back to that react icons. We will grab one icons. The last one is to have our help, right? Okay, so, or we can just go and grab for the code. We have the code one. Okay, we will just get for the code, not okay. For the code, we're gonna get that. Okay, file code, and here I'm gonna paste that. So instead this one, we're gonna just grab that one, and from that color ratio, what kind of color we can put here. So let's just make 4-5. Yeah, I think that's fine. So it should change. As you see, it's already changed. So now in that div layer, let's make something. Should be flex, and item should be center. Okay, that looks perfect. The gap, we're gonna give it 2 of gap, and after that we're gonna provide also a border, and the border should be gray of 200 right now. Is it dark or deeper? Yeah, it's not 200. I think it's going to be 600. It's cool, very slight portion. And now padding x, okay, should be other side. Padding x should be 4, and padding y should be 2 here, just to see the proportion. Rounded should be full, okay, to keep it aligned. And for the text, first thing first, I think the text we can make some align. Okay, text is small, and font we are providing here, but right now md text would be small, otherwise text should be xs, extra small. Okay, cool. Or we can try that extra small, maybe it will fine. Okay, I was just doing in a wrong sense because I was typing in a wrong place here. Okay, so now this icon here is Excel. So what we can do is here, okay, first I will finish this portion here. Now whenever we are hovering, so that whenever we hover, border should be white, and within white I'm gonna just make a 30% of opacity. The duration, I'm gonna provide a 300 as the duration. Okay, Okay, it's happening, but it's not so slight, so I'm gonna make it as a 500, I think 50 opacity. Okay, you see. Okay, cool. And also whenever we're gonna hover, we're gonna also change on the background. Hover, BJ should be white, and I'm gonna also make that 10% of opacity for the white background. You see. Yeah, now we can see it's just occupying the scenario here. So now I think we can go with the icon promises here. So should be MD, I think icon or summarize text. That's the problem. Or here, is it coming with as an let's just go in the ratio. Yeah, now it's coming here, but now it's not looking so nice here. So what we can do is that padding X should be 2 maybe. Yeah, I think padding X should be 2 is quite fine. And now, okay, cool. And we can do one more thing property. I think for right now that much is okay. So what we can do is here also we can make is padding Y1. I think that will give a good grip. Yeah, good. So now as is just coming right now, okay, I think is it in medium or what? In this is the medium. Okay, so now let's go in the sidebar. We're gonna start working on that scenario. What kind of things we're gonna have in our sidebar. So for the sidebar, we're gonna have a several scenario. First thing first, we're gonna have our new chat scenario, right? So here we're gonna have our new chat component. So I'm gonna create one more component here, and that one will be new chat.tsx. Okay, so this new chat, it should be available to just go and grab us to create the new chat application. So the new chat scenario, either you can go and grab that. I think it's better to have that one in this way. So now what I'm gonna do, grab that new chat, save, and you will see the new chat is already focusing at the top. So for the new chat, what we're gonna do, we're gonna just create a simple scenario here. In that div, we're gonna create a link here. So it should be a link, and in that particular link, we're gonna provide one icon, should be IO home icon. Okay, done. And for that IO home icon, put an href, which should be whenever we're gonna click here, it should be provide us to let us go back to the home. Okay, done. And after that link, we should also have I think instantly we can grab that one, not here but in that sidebar. So instead of new chat here, we can just go directly and grab it here. Okay, I think that will be pretty much cool. And after the link, we can just provide that new chat. Okay, and in the new chat, we will just make that new chat. Later on, we're gonna keep that scenario. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna grab this entire things. I'm gonna just pour these things within a div parameter, and here in the div, let's just make some class name, and by default it should be hidden. Whenever it gonna hit empty screen, it should be a flex, and also it gonna make in a flex column proportion. Height should be screen, and then I'm gonna make it as a relative. Padding should be 2.5. okay, so that will be the padding proportion here. So now for that particular instances, so that div, not this one, should be class name, it should be flex, and item should be center, gap should be 1. It's saved. So now you see, okay, that's cool. And for the home parameter here, we also going to provide some class name just to make it looks much more better. So let's put some class name here, and we're gonna make a border. Border should be white, and within white we're gonna provide a 10% of opacity. Okay, good. But I think 10% it will, okay, text should be XX, MD text should be, whenever MD is screen, text should be our base text. And then also we're gonna make a padding 1.5, the padding we're gonna provide. MD, the padding should be 2, MD padding should be 2. It's safe. So the border, if you want to see the border much more easily you can just hide the ratio. You can make it 80. You can see the border here right now, but I'm gonna make it 20. I think that will be fine, not more than that. And rounded should be MD, and text should be also white, but also going to have a 50% of opacity. Okay, that's cool. And hover, whenever we hover, the border should be white, and white, within the white I'm going to provide a 50% opacity, and hover, text should be, I think yeah, text should be white, and the duration should be 300. As you see, yeah, now it's giving us the scenario. And now for the new chat, we're gonna also going to inject so many things here. First thing first, we're gonna have a button here. For the new chat, it will be specially a button properties here, and where we're gonna just, whenever we click, it will automatically inject a new chat here. So it will be a button, and within the button we should be able to provide one icon here, which going to be plus icon. So that's the icon, I think, yeah, should be get from the React icons. So now we should be able to see one icon and one button here. So first thing first, let's provide a class name here, and in the class name, make a flex, item center, justify center, provide a gap, which going to be gap of let's just put a gap of 2. So hit save, and you see the little bit gap scenario is coming here, looks good. And now also for the sidebar, which the scenario which we have been created for that link parameter, especially for the icon here. So let's go in the sidebar. I think we also going to inject those scenario right now here. So the border parameter and other parameter, it will be just applicable here. Hit save. Okay, this padding ratio is, I think, getting much more bigger. So put a padding, I think instead of this padding ratio, we can just change the padding ratio here. The padding X should be 2, padding X should be 2, and padding Y should be 1. Hit save. And after saving, you see that looks quite good. And one more thing is that we need to provide that accelerates width. So the width should be full width going to be taken from here. So right now, once we click here, we should be able to create a chat. So it will just dynamically go in a new chat. So how we're going to create that chat properties whenever we're going to click on that particular instances? And to create that one, we will just create a dynamic page here. In that app, we're going to create one more page, which going to be chats, and within chat we will take another folder which will be ID, and here in the ID we're going to provide a file, should be page.tsx. now RFCE should be chat page. Okay, so now whenever we're gonna click on that new chat, we should be able to just dynamically pass that one. So how we can do that? And first thing first, we can also make that router. So we're gonna come back here very soon, but before going that, we can actually make that one to work. I think also we need to provide that as a use client feature. And now whenever we're gonna click on that, put it on click, and here, right, the function should be create new chat, okay, done. And for that instances, okay, not here, should be within this parameter, const create new chat, which is going to be a function. And of course, we're gonna make it as an assign function here. Because we're gonna call something in our database, then we're gonna pass some properties. So should be assign function here. And on that, we're gonna just grab the router right now. So const router equal to use router. And don't forget to import the router from the next navigation, otherwise it will not work. So you should import that from the next navigation. And for right now, because here we should be getting something like creating a new chat ID in Firestore. Okay, so that's the one we're gonna do for right now. And also after creating that, we're gonna just push through that one with that particular ID which we're gonna get back. So we're gonna go within the backtick parameter, and then we're gonna pass that properties to just to align that instantly. So it should be that chat, and also it will just go with our docs, and it will be just our ID which going to be we are passing here. For right now we have nothing. For right now we're gonna just put a we're gonna put a dummy ID here, so you're gonna see it will just go and grab that page. Click enter. As you see, we are now here within the dummy chat here which we click. So if we go roll back here, we should be able to go back to the home. So now as the things is going up and down, we should be able to create so many other scenario. For right now we should do two separate things. One is to create our user authentication, and to create the user we should be able to go with that our Firebase console, and from that console I'm gonna just go and with that their website here. So from here I'm gonna change my account. I'm gonna use my separate account to just go and roll back with that particular instances. So I'll change the account here, and now I'm gonna create a new application. So let's go to the console, and in the console, as soon as I land here, I'm having my previous application here. From there I'm gonna create a new project. So let's put that ChatGPT, and it should be YT. And now here I'm gonna hit continue. So I don't want to able to just go with the enable Google Analytics, so create a project. So after creating projects we can go through and create the other instances, which is pretty much we are needing here in our project. So let's give it a time to be reconciled for a bit. And also for the authentication we're gonna use that auth.js. So as you see, that's the one. If you just come back their homepage, auth.js.dev. So here from the get started, you can learn how you can start with the auth.js. We can use the Next.js for our today's development build. And from there, as you see, we need to make that installation process. So as soon as it's having there, I'm going to just paste it here just to run the installation process. And also I'm going to okay, it's created. Okay, first I'm gonna just I'm gonna create that one first. So continue, and after continue, by default it will wrap up within your application, as you see that. So let's just go in the web. So now again I need to provide my name, app name, to register that. I'm gonna just provide the same name, which will be ChatGPT YT, and register. And after registering, it will also show you how you can configure that and how you can initialize that. See, that's the command. I need to grab it here, so paste it here. It will install the Firebase to your application. So I'm gonna copy that. So entire things I'm gonna copy, and here I'm gonna close everything. So on that root I'm gonna get one file which should be firebase.ts. Okay, here I'm gonna paste that code here. So the code which I have been just copied, I'm gonna pasting here. Okay, cool. Now I'm gonna having a several scenario here. I'm gonna just remove that, the comments coming from the Firebase. Okay, now I need to initialize my application, and what I preferring you better create your application. Don't copy paste from here, because I'm gonna delete this application, all the keys, like the keys I'm using for the authentication, the keys I'm using for the ChatGPT, the keys I'm using for the Firebase. I'm gonna focus, I'm gonna let you see everything, but later on, before uploading the video, because as it's not live, I'm gonna delete that and then publish that. So better you try your own keys and all formulas which I'm showing you. Don't try to copy paste on my one, it will not work for you. So here I'm gonna go and like initializing, because as you see, that's the app, like initializing app I'm getting. But here I'm gonna write a condition here. Okay, so what the condition, I'm gonna make that get apps, and also that get apps going to be getting from the Firebase, and get apps dot length means if any application is open. Okay, if the length is there, we're gonna just make that get app. Okay, so and otherwise, if no application is initialized, we will initialize our application. So that's just a self combination here. Like if any application is open, you are getting prioritized the open one. You are not initializing a new app, because there will be multiple scenario that you are going to have a several scenario that you open the multiple apps within the single application layer. So better to have those sort of setup. Now we're gonna make that const db, and the database going to be coming from that get Firestore, and from here I'm gonna just pass my app, right? So now we are going to get our application layer here. I think Firestore is not imported. Why? Okay, it's not coming here. I'm gonna grab that one. So that's Firestore. And now I need to export my database. So export, it should be my DB. So now I will be able to use my database here. So continue to console. And from here, I need to enable the other properties here. So in that project, I'm not going to go in the project setting, but first I'm going to go within my application layer here. So first for the authentication, let's just go and click on that perception. For that, create on get started. And also I need to manage one env file, which is going to be .env. So here in that env file, I'm going to provide all the key sort of things which we are going to use. So that's the things which we need to align here. So first thing first, that will be all the available keys here. So you should be able to have the auth URL key, then the auth secret, auth Google ID, auth Google secret, OpenAI API key, and then Firebase service account key. So that's the 6 scenario we should be put on. So now first let's go in the Google. We should be enable the Google sign in. Okay, enable, and that's the project ID. In the SDK we should go and grab that. So now we will also provide an email here and hit save. And now it's just loading. Just give it a time to just set up this email with your account. Okay, cool. Now click on that again, and here in that web SDK configuration here, we should be able to see that alignment here, which if you see that right now, it should be going to have that Google API console. So Google Cloud Console will be responsible to provide us that. Now again, I need to change my account here rotely, otherwise I'll not get this particular instances. And from here I need to select a project. Remember, I will just check all project here, and from there ChatGPT YT. You also can configure here within that project ID here that F86AE. If you come back here also, you should be able to see your project ID, which is going to be F86AE. So means we are in the same project ratio. So now from here I'm gonna click that. And right now already Google automatically create an authentication part. The credential is provided here. So right now from here I need to grab that this app client ID. So that will be my auth Google ID. And also I need to provide that Google secret key. So I'm going to copy that secret. So that will be my secret key. Hit save. And for that auth API, there is one more things which I need to set is for to get that URI. Okay, so that URI will be responsible, the URI which I'm going to grab it here. So in my local host, so that will be the URL for that. So now we will also for the callback redirect UI also I need to set that. So which should be that localhost 3000 API auth callback Google. So that's the two things I need to set. So hit save, and after also we deployed our application, also we need to configure this scenario with our deployed version. So now that particular instances is set up, and we also need to get one instances which is for our Firestore database. So that's the one we will also use to create keeping our data set here, and we're going to grab the data from these purposes from this Firestore database. Okay, it's initializing, and from here create new database, and from here I will just go in the default behavior. Okay, next, and I will use in the test mode. Okay, and create. So that's the database we are going to use. And first thing first, as it's loading, so we're gonna go in the oops, I'm gonna just delete that. So auth.js. Okay, now from the auth.js, as we see, already installed that purpose, that thing. So we need to generate one auth secret. I'm gonna copy that and I'm gonna paste it here. And after pasting that, it will just get that one, I think. Okay, hit Y. So that auth URL, which going to be the URL of our application URL, localhost 3000. So I'm gonna copy that, and here I'm gonna paste it. And for the secret, it's just generating the secret here within that premises. I'm gonna just grab that one from here, cut it, and then I'm going to provide that within my env file. Hit save. And also that env local, which is not necessary right now, I'm going to delete that one. So now what I have auth URL, auth secret, auth Google ID, auth Google secret. So it's everything which is needed for our login purposes. So I'm going to Okay, now here we need to go with the configuration. I need to create a file in the root which should be auth.js, auth.ts file. So in the root, I'm gonna create a new file which will be auth.ts, and here I'm gonna paste that. So there is coming from that next auth, coming from the next auth, and handlers are passing that handlers as sign in, sign out, and I think that's the three is, yeah, handlers, sign in, sign out, and auth. So that's the three separate scenario we are passing. And also we need to provide that API routes. Where we're gonna create that? In the app, we need to create a new directory here, which is API, and within the API we need to create a new directory again, and which will be named as auth. Okay, so in the auth we need to create another directory with a special formula, which is going to be the third bracket and a spread tag here, 3 dot, and then next auth, and the finish of the second bracket. And here we need to create a route, should be route.ts, and within the route.ts I need to copy this portion, and here I need to paste it. And also for that import method, as it's not working, I need to just go in my ts config, not the ts, I think, yeah, ts config, or yeah, ts config, not the next auth config here. So here also I'm gonna like include my file ratio here. Also it should be dot star. Also going to take the home route as a specifically hallmark, so I can grab the file from here and then I can put it right now instantly. So that's the asterisk. So that's the asterisk right should be available here. So okay, pass it here, done. And if we come here, it should be working. Okay, now as you see, no error is happening here. So now also we can set the middleware for the authentication. For this application, we don't need to set any middleware. That's fine, it will be. For the authentication, we will go with the OAuth authentication, and we will go with the Google. Okay, so for the Google, as you see, we need the Google Auth ID, Google Auth Secret, so other scenario here. So now let's go in the session management. We will go and how to create sign in and how to create sign out from there. So first, if everything, as you see, everything is good to go, also it will work for the server side scenario. Also for the client side, whenever we're going to use the session, we need to that use session scenario also. I'm going to show you later on, but first thing first, let's go in that and create one sign in page. So it will be sign in, and here I'm going to create a file, should be page.tsx. So RAFCE sign in page, save. And let's go within our application layer. If we click in the sign in, we should be able to go in the, as you see, the sign in is already in the top. So means we are in the page, but right now we need to make it looks actually the things which we have been created. If we go back here and if we click on sign in, as you see, that's the page we need to create right now. So let's go here. And for the sign in, what we can do is that also we can provide a name layer here. So in the layout, we can make changes here. So ChatGPT clone YT, save, and you will see it will change instantly. And also for our other ratio here, for the Fabi icon, I'm going to grab my Fabi icon and I'm going to replace it here. Okay, Fabi icon, I'm going to remove the previous one, and let's remove the copy mark. So it should be generating our Fabi icon. Yeah, it's grabbing here. So right now I'm going to just change the text title from here, and that should be GPT clone for educational purposes, save. And also I'm gonna copy this entire things, and then I'm gonna grab it within my page. From here I'm gonna just export that metadata. Okay, let's import that, and the title, I'm gonna just change the title, so it will be let's make that sign in ChatGPT. Okay, you see the sign in is just popping up, and also we will change that here. Okay, cool. So now for the sign in page, how we can make the things to just be handled the way we supposed to be. So first thing first, we're gonna make things a bit of like to make we're gonna emphasize the other way. So put a class name here. We're gonna make that as a fixed one, and width should be full, height should be full, and bj should be black. Hit save. You see that everything is on the background layer, and from the left it's gonna be 0. So as you see, it's in the top, right? And we're gonna make flex item center, justify should be center, so it's in the middle. And for the this background ratio, we're gonna provide that within that 80% of opacity. So you can see, if you just make it as 20, you can, or 30, you can see the background properly, right? But it's not good to make that one. I'm gonna make it within that 80% ratio. Okay, so now I will just create a component, a new component here, which will be responsible to create our sign in and other scenario. So how we can create that one in that norm, or also we can just simply keep that within this page. It's up to us how you want to handle. We can also just keep it here. That's not a big deal here. So if I just go and grab one div here, okay, and within that div I'm gonna have another more div here. So I think a p tag, so just put a p tag here. Welcome back. Hit save. Okay, welcome back is appearing. Okay, good. So after welcome back, we should be able to also passing one more parameter here, another p tag. So it should be login or sign up to get smarter responses. What's wrong with that? Upload files and images and more. I think. Okay, done. That's the one scenario. And after that, we should be having the other properties here. So in that, I'm gonna copy, remove that. So in that class name, let's just make on that particular ratio here, which should be pretty much good for all the. I think how we can deal with that is to make it much more better. So here, let's put a background color, which going to be have one F2. I think F2, it will be go to F. I think go to F to F to F. Yeah. So that's the background color is going to be on that proportion, and width going to be 96, height going to be 96. Let's make it a flex. Okay, the background color is not coming here because we need to provide a dash here. And also I think okay, cool. Hit save. Yeah, that's it. So flex column, and item should be center, justify should be center, rounded should be LG. Hit save. Okay, cool. It's now within the norm. So for this p tag, text should be 3XL. Okay, 3XL. Font should be on to make it as a bold font, and tracking should be white. Done. And for that p tag, put a class name here, and then the text should be base, and tracking should be white, margin top should be 2, and font should be medium. Save. Okay, and also I think I'm gonna keep it text as center align, so it will be in the center. Okay, quite good. And after that, we should be actually for the height also, if you don't want to provide the height in instant proportion, you can just keep it an empty ratio. You see that? And you can make a padding Y of 10, and it will automatically render with the same scenario. So that's up to you, how the way you like. So for that, I need to provide a 2 separate scenario right now. So I'm gonna provide another div here, and for that div, if you just go in the documentation, as you see, you can make the sign in just that simple way using the server interaction, right? So I'm gonna just copy that portion here right now. And also I need to import that sign in from that, not the next auth directly from the auth file which we have here. So the sign in method going to import it here from that auth.tss if you are going to use in a server side. If you're using in the client side, you need to import it from the next auth. If you come here, as you see, the sign in method is already empowering, but it's just going in the out of the way in a bit. So means we should be demonstrate that one in within that scenario. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna grab and I'm gonna cut everything from here. I'm gonna provide within the div directly, and that one I'm gonna just pass that instantly in the one layer top. Save. Okay, so now we are within that top proportion, and here also we can make it as a flex. Put a class name, so you can make just padding x should be 10. Okay, and text should be center. Done. Yeah, I think that will be good. And also for now this one tag proportion here, empty tracking text center, I think now no need, because we by default is already is the text is center. And what's wrong here? Padding x4 maybe. Yeah, 4 is good. Okay, so we are good to go again. So for that, as you see the sign in method, if you just click on that instances here, we should be able to generate in the sign in. You see, we are here, but we will not be able to do the sign in because we didn't choose any provider yet. And how to do that one? Because there is another file which we missed. So that's the one we need to create. So if we come back here, as you see the providers file here, so that's the auth, and that's the providers. So now we need to provide the providers, which providers we're going to use for the login, and we're going to use the Google provider, right? So here you can use the multiple provider, you can use the Google provider, you can use the GitHub provider, and also you can pass that GitHub. So the two provider we can use right now. We will use the two provider. If we click right now, as you see, we are now getting the two instances. One is for the sign in with Google, one is for the sign in with GitHub. So right now here we need to provide some more scenario here, which going to make it more perfect in that norm. So first thing first, we need to let people see what kind of authentication he is going to work on that. So particularly on that button here, that's as a submit button. So we have the sign in value, and before the sign in, we will provide one image tag, image. So we need to import from that next image. Okay, and for that image source, it should be Google image. Sorry, GOO maybe, Google image, and that image also tab should be Google image. And for the class name for the particular image properties, the class name with going to be 8. Hit save. So we should be able to see one Google image appearing here. Okay, good, it's appearing. So let's just and also I'm gonna just define some of the class name so that it will work in a proper way. So after that submit button, I'm gonna provide that class name. So as you see, the border is getting a border weight, and okay, padding axis of A6, text base, text center. Okay, easy in out. Okay, right. So now that's the one button we have here right now. So we should be able to have two particular button, one for the Google, one for the GitHub. So the same configuration it's going to have. For right now, I'm gonna just particularly tackle with that to the same authentication for the Google and for the GitHub, because you can just go through and learn how to go and grab the GitHub one. So that's the similar things of that Google. Save. So now we have two button instantly. So how that button should be work and look alike in the same scenario. So first thing first, let's make that class name should be flex, and flex should be column. Hit save, and the gap should be 3. Okay, cool. And also we're gonna provide a margin top should be 3. I think 3, or yeah, 3 should be enough. Now let's just see in that button in the Google, why is not okay. Yeah, there's the text need to change. So sign in with Google. Okay, cool. And here also Okay, I think quite good. So now if we just click here, okay, so we should be able to go and grade the login portion. So now what actually we did here, we just go and grab the scenario here just to make how to log in proportion. And in a way, the login instances which we are right now doing is at the server side, because see, we didn't made it as a client side interaction, so we are still in the server side interaction here. We are now logging with the sign in with the Google, and also we can sign it with our GitHub proportion. So two various login method we are applicable, but right now we'll just keep it as Google, because as we're providing the Google authentication and other parameters, we'll just go with the Google. So now if we click on that Google, sign in with Google, as you see, it's just going to be evaporating here, but right now it should not amaze. I think if okay, let's try it one time and see. Okay, that's the scenario is happening because we choose to separate a provider here right now. So first thing first, I'm gonna just grab one provider here. Okay, for right now, later on we can go and make interactive with two separate authenticator. So let's click on the Google, and we should be able to generate the Google authentication process right now. So enter Google. Okay, I think we better keep a reload here right now. Okay, go and hit Google. Okay, sign in with Google, and we will go with my account right now. Continue. Yeah, so right now we have been continued, but still we are now in sign in page. So how we can just move out from that page, right? So now as it's in the server side, we can just get our session, const session is equal to, it should be await, and it should be coming from our auth, and as is make it await, it should be async. So now if we just go and log here our session, hit save, and you should be able to see our session right now here with our terminal. You see, we have the session, we have user name, email, image, expires, so the token expiration also providing here. Now we will just write a simple configuration here. What kind of things? If we have, like if we have the session and we have the user, we have the two parameter, so we want to redirect, which going to import from the next navigation, and we want to redirect directly to home. Okay, hit save, and you see now we are in the home. Even if we try to go in the sign in, we should not be able to go there, as it's not dealing anymore with the sign in proportion because we have our user. So now as I'm gonna go in a simple procedure here in the sign out positioning here. So let's go in the header. So here also we can just go and check if we have the sign in positioning here. So how we can check that one? So let's just grab the session, const session is equal to awaits, and that await also we're gonna make that as our auth directly here, and also we're gonna make that async. And now here we're gonna write a simple conditioning here. What's going to be make that it should be a conditional here. If we have the session dot user, then we're gonna pass something, otherwise we're gonna also pass something. So now that's the time we have the session, so we are not going to pass this one anymore. What we're gonna pass, we're gonna pass a div here, right? So it will be a div, and here we're gonna pass one image here. So now if you are developing the application here beforehand, you should be understanding, like whenever the image is coming, there should be an error right now, because you need to configure your domains here, because that image going to be bringing here directly from that our Firebase from our Google one. So what we need to do in that config here, you need to make one configuration here for the images, from where the image is going to become. One image going to coming from the Google, one from the image PB and for IPB, and one for the Cloudinary. So that's the three image domains I'm gonna use. So I'm gonna just keep it as configure, otherwise it will give us the error. You can try it without configuration and you will find the error nicely after. So now for the image, I'm gonna provide a source parameter, which should be the session, and session, and after in the session we need to grab the user, and also we need to grab the image, and it will coming as a string parameter. So for that one, put an alt tag, and should be user image. It's saved. And let's see what we're going to have right now. So we have the session. We should be able to see our image. Let's hit reload. Let's see. If we have the session, we should be able to see the image. It's still loading, so just give it a bit of time to reconcile. Now one more scenario need to pop up, because if we are getting the image from the outside domain, you need to provide a width. So the ratio, by which ratio the image is going to be popping up. So 200 by 200. Hit save. So now I think, because as the domain we set up, it should be good. Okay, now let's just grab that, and here this image I'm gonna provide within another deep proportion here, because the logout also I'm gonna keep it here, because you can make a separate positioning here, no problem at all. So put a class name, the width going to be providing as 8, height should be 8, and rounded should be full. And also for that image instances, put a class name, width should be full, height should be full, rounded MD, and object should be cover. It's saved. And as you see, rounded not MD should be full. Okay, and after that also we're gonna provide the name here. So the p tag should be session.user.name. As you see, we're having our name of that particular instances. So you can put the name also on either way. You can just grab that logout. So we can create a function directly here within that application norm. So it will be that signout.tsx rfce. So the sign out portion, it will work directly from here. So here we can just passing that sign out. Okay, hit save. As you see, the button is available. So now what we will do is here, put a class name, flex item center. Is the flex is working? So that's the div. Okay, it will not work because it's within that div property. So let's go back here in the top. So I need to lower that one another ground. Yeah, now it's working. So flex center, and we're gonna give a gap up to. Okay, save. Now here for the sign out button, we can also generate something new proportion here. So instead of that, remember in the auth we have some scenario here how you can log out. The sign in and sign out proportion here. So for the sign out, which one we can use? We can use that one, you see. So I'm gonna copy that, and right now here I'm gonna just paste it here. Also need to import the sign out directly. So from that, not Firebase auth, from our own auth. Okay, let's go back here, and if we click on the sign out portion, it should be providing the sign out. Put a class name, text should be small, and it should be underline. Okay, hit save. Cool. And text should be gray of 200. Hover text should be white. Duration need to provide for 300. So if we click on that, it should be sign out. As you see, directly signing out. So click on sign in, and it will get us to the sign in page. Sign in with Google. Okay, let's go. And there is a ratio which we can provide, because right now, okay, let's go in the home page again. So we're gonna show you one simple trick here which we can use, and it should be consequently used in this parameter. So what we can do is that instead of sign in, that every time it's just popping up by which provider it's going to sign in, so we can just define here which properties or which profile it will just go and grab that. So I'm gonna just provide that Google. That's it. So now if we just click on the sign in, it will automatically redirect to our Google provider, as we are using a single provider right now. So after continue the sign in, so now it's gonna pass us to that particular instances. So that's the scenario which we have right now. So first thing first, we're gonna grab our another application layer, as we're gonna create our, let's just go and get our API key from our here in that platform.openai.com, and in the API keys, as you see, I am having a new API key. I'm going to create one more API key, and here I'm going to pass that key name as text. So in the test, if I just generate the key, as you see, now I need to copy that key, and here in my .env file, I'm gonna provide that key segment here. So OpenAI key, it's saved. Okay, so now that key I can use. Okay, so that's the key parameter. Don't worry, later on I'm gonna remove that. So now in that particular instances, let's just start to popping up new chat implementation. So before going any further layer, we also need to fix one more properties here to set up our Firebase admin. To just go and grab the admin properties, let's go in the project settings, and from here we need to go and grab the service accounts. So that's the one which we need to popping up. So let's just create our service account key, and because whenever we're gonna push push our things in the database, we need to provide that permission to our data set here so that we can directly inject right within our Firestore database. So with that permission, we need to use that Firebase admin. So how we can use that? So first we need to generate one private key. So click on generate, and also, by the way, I need to grab that one. I need to use that. So let's just import. So npm I should be install the Firebase admin. So now if I just roll back here, already got one JSON file here. Whenever you click on that generate new private key, it will generate one JSON file, and it will automatically popping up within your download folder. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna directly just grab it in my this application layer, and from here I'm gonna just remove that proportion. What I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna rename it, and that will be, let's just put service under service account key .json. So now there is some of the line breaks is happening which we don't want to use anymore. So what I want you to do, to just command A and select all. Okay, so control C to just to copy everything from here. And what I'm gonna do, just to go and search for the line breaks remove JavaScript, and the first for the text fixer, so we can just go and grab it here. So it's not providing that, it's just a documentation. I think that's the one which going to give us. Okay, now what we need to do, we need to provide our old key and then remove line breaks. So this is the one, and copy to clipboard, and here I'm gonna just remove everything from there, or you can just grab it here. You can just go back here and just paste it, this portion, save it. So now all the line breaks is removed. So we can now use that Firebase service account key to generate our key proportion and to get things to work within our parameter. And to let it work, I'm gonna close all other parameters here. So close all, and here in the root layer also I'm gonna create one more file which will be Firebase admin.ts. So here I'm gonna configure our Firebase admin configuration, by which we can push every whenever we are want to making that things, we can push the data within our database. So as you see, you can copy everything from here, and I'm gonna copy that, and instead of const we can make it as var. So if var, we can use the const properties. So const, and now in the source properties here within this particular scenario, as you see that require path, we are not going to use that one. So for the service account key, we can make that simply json.parse, and it will be coming from that process.env, and the name which we provided our env file. So let env and Firebase service account key, let's copy that and paste it here, and that one also going to be coming as a string. Hit save. Okay, quite good. So now what's the more things which we can, now as you see we have one initializer to initialize our application. So what I'm gonna say, same condition if we have if no get apps. Okay, so we need to get the apps, and that apps we're gonna get from the Firebase admin. So if we have like no app requiring right now, oops, it should be, I think, not the app, it should be apps. Yeah, okay, get apps dot length means if we doesn't have any app running here, only then we can just include this proportion here. So I'm gonna just make the things in the top layer, hit save. So now in that particular instances, so add credential, admin credential certificate, which is going to get that service account key. And now let's make that const admin db, which going to be admin dot firestore. And after that we will also make export, which going to be admin db. Now within that admin db we can access our properties. Okay, const admin Firebase admin, no, we are not going to use anymore that one because we're gonna use the modular effect. So we're gonna use that directly here. Import, what's wrong with that? Import admin, and it should be coming from Firebase admin. Okay, what's wrong here? Admin.firebase does not exist on the type. Okay, admin.firestore, why it's not admin? I'm gonna just I think it's supposed to be working like that. What's wrong here? Admin db, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just making a reload within the window. I think just a problem with the caching. Yeah, it's just having the issue with the caching. So now my Firebase admin data is working. Now it's still having, what's it saying? Let's see. Property Firebase does not exist on the type of import Firebase build clone Firebase admin lib namespace any. Okay, let's see what's wrong here. I think I provide the wrong name, not the Firebase, should be Firestore. Yeah, that's the why. Okay, cool. So now our Firebase admin is set up. We created everything properly. So if we are now going to generate one a ChatGPT request here, it should be popping up here, right? So now let's go and create one ChatGPT instances. So if we just grab that, we should be create in a different scenario. So how we can grab that? So now right now, instead of creating a dummy layer, we should be able to directly inject that one within our application layer, right? So let's just go and make that one. So let's close everything, and we're gonna move to our new chat. So here we will just combine everything, how the set we want to create and how the things we're gonna deal with that. So what we're gonna make it here, instead of that, first we're gonna wrapping up through our admin procedure. Okay, so first thing first, we need to grab our session here. So that session, as now this is as an use client effect because we are using the router. So to grab that session within the use client proportion, we need to use another segment which is going to have one file, and that file which will be making at layout.tsx. And we need to or instantly we are without making that one here, I believe we should be able to grab that in our provider directly. I think so. But okay, let's try directly within our we just provide in the session provider here. So we don't want to create that file here, we will just grab within the layout here directly. And as you see that deep, I'm gonna select everything in here and cut all, passing that session provider. And in the session provider, I'm gonna just link up everything so that we can call that within our client set library. So now we should be able to grab our session even without getting our particularly the async or await. So, and that would be const, it will be data as session, and that should be coming from use session, and that session going to be informed as to get from that next auth react. So if we just log our session right now, session, okay, and inspect, console, you see we have one session. So now we can also get the session directly within that proportion. Okay, this page could not be found. Why? We in the chat, in the ID, we should have one chat page. Why? What's wrong with that? Okay, let's just go back to the home and passing it here. This page could not be found. Okay, why? What's wrong with that? Chat, and we are passing one ID. Okay, let's type something. Okay, we're gonna fix that. And we cannot be find that in a way because this route is just getting an static route. We need to just move that within that third bracket because we need to make it as a dynamic route. Only then it will work. Okay, so right now if we just go backward and go back to home, and if we click, you see new chat is appearing. So right now it will not directly go and grab the new chat. For first thing first, for our chatting page here, we can just make some changes right now to let it work in a bit. So first thing first, how we can delve that one. So that will be our chat page here. Put a class name, make it a flex. Flex should be in column. And also we're gonna make that in a justify center. Okay, and height should be 100% of that premises. So 100%. Okay, it's just getting on that, and padding should be 5 and overflow should be hidden. It's safe. Okay, so right now our chat page is appearing here. So in that chat page should be two separate proportions should be coming here within a div layer. One, it will be that chat property, and in another div layer it will be coming that just a chat input field. Okay, so that's the two scenario we're gonna interject here. And in that two scenario, one for that chat, I like putting the chatting here, so the flex should be one, that one to grab entire scenario, the spaces here which is available. Okay, and after that also let's just make that overflow y should be scroll, and here padding top should be 10 just to grab it a little bit down from the top. And MD padding whenever it's MD screen, the padding top should be 5. Done. Okay, I think MD padding top, I think I'm gonna keep it as padding top of 10. Okay, cool. So now whenever we click on the new chat, we should be able to, without, because right now we are getting one dummy, right? As you see the dummy number. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna create one file name system where by which we're gonna just directly drag that within our Firestore. So now we're gonna grab that DB, so const, and the session we have all the data, so I'm gonna just remove that. So here we're gonna write that const doc is equal to should be await, as is making an asynchronous function, and we're gonna get the add doc function which is going to coming from that Firestore, Firebase Firestore. And in the documentation we're gonna also grab that collection. So in that collection we need to pass that our DB, our database, which is going to be coming from our database which we have been created right now here. So we're going to access that DB directly from here. So from that DB, as we are getting the DB, we need to pass a several value here for that session session.user dot email. We need to provide the dot email, and we should be as a string. And after passing the email, so that's the one parameter, and then also when oops, my bad. So after passing that email, also we need to provide a several parameter which is the chats. So that's the folder which is going to be injected right now. So right now here what we want to do, see if we have the user, so then it will save within the user, right? If we don't have the user, then we're gonna keep it as unknown. So we will set it whenever we're gonna, because we can save it directly within the user email once we are going to have that. So right now let's just after that particular line, so as we are putting that as the chats is here, we need to also passing a several value, should be user ID, which going to be the ID of that session dot user, and within that user we need to just pass that email, which should be as a string formulation. And after that, created at and in the we will make that server timestamp. Also, you need to directly get it from that Firebase Firestore. So now, as whenever we are going to have that, we should be having a document, right? So in the chat, we are not going to directly pushing that one here. Right now, what we're gonna do is within the interpolation, we're gonna make that doc.id. So if a doc is available, you're gonna pass that ID. So right now, what it's gonna say, whenever we're gonna click on that particularly new chat, it should be able to create a chatting directly in that our database, right? And here we're gonna make a condition here. So it will be const user email is equal to, if we have the session dot user, if we have the session dot user, then the email should be that our session dot user dot email. Otherwise, if we doesn't have that, it should be only a string of that unknown. So means if we have the email, we should provide the, and also we'll make it as a string. Okay, so now instead of directly passing that email, so we can just pass that user email here instantly, and also for that particular instance, we're gonna pass that user email. So means without logging in, you'll be also able to generate that one. So right now, if we click on that, okay, we're getting an error. Okay, no problem. Invalid collection reference. Collections references must be have an odd number of segments, but okay, has two. So we are passing okay. Again, that's my bad. I was typing in somewhere else, not here. Okay, that's my bad. So I'm gonna grab it here. I'm gonna pass it here. Okay, so if we have that user email, like if we have a particular user instances here, we can just grab that user here directly. And also if we have that particular user instances, we should be able to create the user email directly here. And now for that await at doc, in the documentation, we're getting the collection, we're passing the db. Okay, we are grabbing that, but we are not passing the name of that users, so it should be users. Okay, so now what we are doing in our documentation, like in our Firestore, what we are doing within the collection, within the DB, we're creating one folder with the file name with the users, and within the users, we're grabbing the name as a user email, and then the chats ID, which should be our user email ID. So means in our Firestore, we should be able to see one user with that particular name, and then we're gonna also have a chat button on that. So let's go here and put a new chat. And right now, as you see, we are getting one particular dynamic URL here, and that's things coming directly from here. Right now, if we just reload that bit, okay, reloading. Okay, you see the user and you see my name here and then the chats. So right now it's just getting a dynamic chatting application right now here. So we can now feed that data to ChatGPT to just formulate all other parameter. So right now what you need to do, we need to go and grab the scenario to create our chat story by which we should be able to provide our chats. So let's close everything, close all, and after closing all, let's directly go in the chat. So here we're gonna make the separate instances. So what I'm gonna do is here within that particular div, as you see, that's the one where we're gonna provide that chat. So it should be I think at the bottom we will provide one chat ID. It should be chat input, and within that input, remember, as now we are having one ID directly here, because as you see, that's the root layer which we are passing here directly. So within that root layer, as the chat ID is going to be passing, is we have the ID, so we can grab that ID using that params. So now if we just go and grab that and make that params, and we need that params. We can just destructure our ID here directly, and that ID going to be coming. I'm gonna also passing a name of that as a parameter. We're gonna define the type should be props, and now here I'm gonna write one interface here to define our props. Interface props, and it will be params, and within the params it should be ID, which going to be as a string. Now okay, what's wrong with that? Okay, we get the params. Okay, we are putting in a wrong side. Should be one more layer passing there, should be props here. So now if we just make a log here, we should be able to see our ID. So put ID, and if we hit save, we should be able to see ID. You see the chat and then ID. So now we are having our ID, so we can pass that ID directly to our chat. You see that chat input, we can pass that ID is equal to our ID. Okay, so now what we can do, we can grab that ID and then we can go and do other charisma here within that chat input. So basically all the segment here, it will start working within that chat input. Okay, so now what we are going to do is that this the chat input here. We're gonna pass that we will first grab the ID directly here, so it will be that our ID, and now also in the main line we can pass that ID as a string. Done. Okay, so now we will use the several scenario here. We have the prompt, we will grab the session here also. So as the use client side, we need to grab the session as the data, and for that it will pass the session and it will make that use session parameter. Okay, so we grab the session, and after that also we will make that loading state. So it will be loading, and then set loading use state first instances, it will be false. Now also we need to provide a model here. So right now what I'm gonna pass that const model, which is going to be the model of our, let's put that GPT 4 Turbo. So that will be our default model. And for the username, remember we already used that several scenario, because we're gonna keep that username as unique dynamic way. So that's the one. So if we have the user email should be if session user email is available, then available, then the session user email, otherwise unknown. Name also user available, the user email, otherwise unknown. Okay, cool. So we have the two scenario, particular investor scenario here. So right now we will make one function here which going to be grab everything in the instances. So on submit it should be send message. So that's the file which we're gonna handle that. So let's make an on click, sorry, not the on click. So const send messages, which will be an async function, and here we're gonna grab other scenario. And for right now, as we have one button which is already putting that button, is that we're gonna make that button type also here, which is for submit. And right now for that one, we're gonna take one parameter which going to be, as you see, if we just save that one and if we just type something here, you see it's reloading. We need to remove that reloading from directly here. So we're gonna remove all that particular event value here. And what the event, to find the event, we can directly just passing that moment instances here, and now we can copy that event here, that react dot from event. So that's the event which we have here, and you can just copy entire properties directly. So put the copy and roll back, and here that's the value here, and e dot prevent default. Okay, done. So also we can do one more parameter here. I think there is no logged available. Okay, cool. And after setting up the default scenario, we also need to grab and get so many calls here. So first thing first is to just grab, or because we need to also grab one file here, which we will use to get that our toast messages. So it will be react hot toast. So we will use that one to combine and passing to show the toast messages instances within our application. So in the documentation, we just need to install that one. So copy and directly paste here. And we will go directly in our layout. So means we're going to inject it in one place, and from there we can use it everywhere. So after the session provider, within the body we can grab that. So what we need is from that our toaster. So we're going to set that toaster here. So it will be toaster from React hot toast, and for that toaster we will make that position which going to be let's make that top right. Okay, I think top right position, it will be quite valuable, not bad at all. So that will be one instances. And also for that toast options, we're gonna also provide some style variation here. And for the style, we're gonna provide a two separate style. One will be for that background. So the background, should be background color, which going to be provided as white color, FFF, and there is two. Okay, remove one, and one will be the background color. And for the color, I think we are making in a mutation way, because for the background, for the color, I'm gonna make it white. Yeah, and for the color it will be white, and for the background color, which I'm gonna make it as black. So 000, save. So now that's my toast message is ready. So how we can show the messages? So in the chat input, so if we just make that a toast dot success, and let's say let's just pass the prompt message. So whatever is the available in the prompt, we're gonna pass it here. So if we write something, enter, you see the message is here. And also we're gonna make that set prompt as an empty, so it will be go in a default state. So now if we just hit enter, and it's default, it's removed. So now what we need to do is to create our other scenario. So now is to create the chat input scenario here, how we can create the chat, right? And to create the chat, there will be a several scenario here. So first thing first, we need to create a message portion, right? And then we're gonna feed this message to our like the ChatGPT, and then we're gonna grab the instances directly. Okay, so first we're gonna make the messages, and how we can do that. So now first of all, if we say if there is no prompt, okay, so means no message is written there, will return. Of course, it will be disabled by default, but even though we want to make that one more optional chaining, if there is no prompt, yalla, you just go run away from there. Now also we're gonna make a message const input. So what kind of input is there? Should be prompt dot trim. We're gonna trim our messages. We can pass some of the other messages, and it can be some misspell and others. We're gonna trim that message. So later on, what we're gonna do, we're gonna create a message. So const message, and that message, it will be an object. Okay, within object we're gonna pass that text, and that text should be our input value. So the input value which we are getting at the top, and then we're gonna also make that created at, and that created at which is going to be server timestamps. Done. And after that parameter, also we're going to get the user. So that user, what kind of user we're going to have? We're going to pass an ID. So underscore ID. The ID should be our user email, the email which we are passing, and the name should be our username, which we have been created at the top. And then avatar. So the avatar which going to be having that if we have the session. So now here we're gonna pass a conditioning here. So if we have the session, we're gonna pass one avatar. If we doesn't have the session, we're gonna pass our static avatar here. So till now, that's the message endpoint which we are creating right now. So that's the message formulation. So if you want to see the messages, you can just make a log here and see what kind of message we have been dealing there. So let's just make that message and inspect the value here. Okay, as you see, we're now getting the message, so everything is good to go. In the message, we have created at the server timestamp, we have the text, and then we have our user. So means everything is ready, so we can now pull up all the other scenario to make the things to work. So first thing first, I'm going to remove that this one and also this one. Here I'm going to get a try catch value, right? So if we are successful, then we're gonna make something. If we are having a problem, means we are not properly succeed to create that instances, we also like error sending messages, something went wrong, please try again. So we're gonna pass that scenario here. But if we success, what kind of things we are going to handle? First thing first, we're gonna make set loading as true. Okay, so we will be able to show a loader, and finally what we're gonna catch is that when everything is done, the set loading messages which we are providing as true, it should be false. So within that particular scenario, we should be able to do something, some changes and some parameter, right? So now here we will make the other things to be done. First, we're gonna make a document ID, and so what kind of ID we are going to grab, that will be interested. So for the document ID, so let's just make const chat. Let's just okay, we can directly pass our ID, so no need to pass the document ID anymore. So now if we can pass directly if no ID is available, right? Because we have ID in the params. Okay, so we can use that. Yeah, we have ID in the params. If no ID is available, we can write something. So now we can write a const if no chat ID. Actually, if there is no ID available, then we can also should be able to create the chat, right? So also we can make the reference. So that one, it should be, should be able to use the reference here. So what I think we will create the doc ref. Yeah, I think that will be the good practice here, because if we have the ID, and if we like first we write if we have the ID, then we will ref whatever when we don't have the ID. So if we have the ID, so I'm going to keep it right now as this value. If we have the ID, then I'm going to add the documentation here. So in the Firebase, it will add a doc, and then we're going to pass the collection. So in the collections, we're gonna get our DB, so database from the Firestore, and now here we're gonna pass our users criteria, and on the users criteria we're gonna pass that our user email, right? If we have the user email, it will get the mail, otherwise unknown. And now here the next one which going to be the chats. So in the chats, it will be that our ID, the ID which we are interjecting there, and then on the other parameter, it will just get the messages here, and within that messages, it's gonna pass the message which we created. Okay, so that's the scenario which it will create, and after passing that proportion, the set prompt should be, we're gonna make it as an empty ratio. Okay, and now the error is coming from here, no worries, we're gonna fix that right now. So this will happen, that at doc is going to create once we are having that ID. But right now, if we in the home, because if we are in the home and now we are writing something, then what will happen, right? Because we need to every time create a new chat, then only we can create a new chat. But what if in the home page we try to create a new chat? How we can grab that chat and how we can do that? So for if we have no ID at all, we're gonna make a reference doc ref. So in that doc ref, we will also go and that await and add documentation, and in the add doc, we will go through that collection, and on that collections, we are going to grab our database. So in the DB, add dot collection, and in the DB, we will grab our users, and on the users, we will also get our user email, and that user email, we're gonna pass that chats. Okay, so in the chats. And now here what we're gonna do, we're gonna create a new document. Okay, so right now what we're gonna do, user ID, because that ID previously we have been done for our, whenever we click on that add a new user, add new chat that time. So right now we will create at latest on that. So created at which going to be server timestamp, done. And after that, after doing that deal of the scenario, which the ID should be, we can make the chat document ID. So, or we can say chat ID, and that ID, or we can say, what kind of say, chat ID. I think that will be good. Chat ID. It should be docref and docref.id. So that's the ID which going to be returned from there. So that's the one. What's wrong with that? Chat ID. Okay, cannot find name. I think, yeah, we need to grab it in the top. So set loading, say, okay, we're gonna provide a name here, chat document ID. Okay, so that way we can actually grab that. So first thing first, it will get that ID, so the ID which we are having that. So in that document ref ID, so we can now remove like replace that one. So router dot push, and we're having the router here, not yet, so we need to grab the router. So it will be const router is equal to use router from the next navigation. Okay, so now router.push, and now the same thing. Remember, if we just roll back to our new chat, so new chat, that's the things which we created here. So if you copy that one also, it will work. So let's copy that. Just you need to pass the different scenarios. So in that, instead of that ID should be that one. Okay, done. So if we have no any other document, that one also should be able to create. Like if we just come in the home and write something, hit enter, it should be creating one ID. You see, it's created the ID. Something went wrong, that's fine, that's not a big deal, but we are having that ID, right? So now below that, we should be start working on that particular instances. So first thing first, we need to send a notification. So we can just write here, so it will be a toast notification to say loading, and after that we will just create a send, and after that also we're gonna make that send request to API. So that's the two things we are going to work on. One, it will be just passing a toast messages for that loading instances, and another one, it should be able to deliver to call our API session to grab the data. So to set the notification state, what we're gonna say is here is to just passing like const notification. That should be toast.loading, and here we're gonna pass a notification condition that ChatGPT is thinking. Okay, so that will be one scenario here, and then we're gonna also make a fetch method which we're going to grab it to our API. So here we're gonna make that await fetch, and on that fetch we're gonna pass that one as API, and also it will be ask chat, and here within that parameter we're gonna pass the method which will be a post method. So it will be a post method, and then the headers also need to define. The headers we will be then we're gonna just pass that as a headers type, which will be content type, and the type which we are going to pass is that which will be application /JSON. And now so that will be our method and headers, and after the headers we're gonna pass also our body. So within the body we're gonna also make that JSON.stringify. So the data which we are passing there, it should be the prompt the prompt, we're gonna pass that as our input, which the input which you written here, the ID which going to be chat document ID, and also the model, we're gonna pass our model, and then we're gonna pass our session, and that session we're gonna pass that user email. So only the email, either you can just pass that email also, it will be just fine. And as soon as also we are passing that chat document ID, I believe in the at doc in ID, I wish it's better we can, I think the chat document ID we should be able to keep at the lower level. Okay, so that's the chat document ID. Here we are passing that. I think instead of that ID we can just simply pass that also chat document ID. So we will just handle one ID within that scenario. Okay, so now as we have that, now we will go with another scenario here. So we have this here, then if we have the response here, then we're gonna go in the then positioning here, so which also it will be an async, because we need to wait for our response. So it will be coming as within the response scenario, and then we're gonna pass that, we're gonna make that const data. It should be await response dot JSON. Okay, so that will be our data. So now we're gonna write one condition here. If we have the data, and if data dot success means we are having that success message, then we're gonna succ should be okay. Then we're gonna pass that toast dot success, and within the success we're gonna pass that our data dot message, the message which we are going to pass it. And here also we're gonna define the ID, and the ID should be the notification ID. So means the loading instances should be finish it here. And also in the else scenario we're gonna also pass the message, but this time it will not be the success message, but we're gonna pass it as the error message if our data is not coming as a success. So what we need to do, we need to create one ask checkout route here to just go and grab that scenario, how we can just go and create our instances instantly. And to do that, I'm gonna make it a bit bigger here, and in that API let's just create a folder here. So that folder, it should be X, I think, yeah, XChat. And here I'm gonna get one file, the name of that route.ts, and that route, it should be one post route. So export const, and it will be a post route method and async. Okay, so that will be our method parameter, and the request parameter, it will be next request. So next request, which need to be imported from the next server. Okay, so right now what's the wrong thing we have been done, not this one, not require. Okay, so here we're gonna just pass that const request body. So the rec body, it should be equal to await, and that await, it should be rec.json. Okay, and here we're gonna just go and grab that log parameter, log, and just pass that rec body. Okay, here also we're gonna make a try const value, try catch value. So by this way we should be able to grab the scenario. So now in the catch formation we will also pass a response. The response, it should be just grabbing that the response need to be imported from next response. Okay, so now in the try block we can also pass that return a value. So return next response dot JSON, not symbolic, should be JSON. What's wrong here? JSON. And for here, first we're gonna make that as success as true, and we're gonna pass that message. This will be API is, what's wrong, connected. And after that we're gonna pass also our status. So the status should be 200. So if we hit the route, we should be able to grab the scenario. It should be hit in our particular instances. So let's just try just write something here. Okay, and it's compiling, and as you see, API is connected, the message we got, and also we are grabbing that request scenario. So in the messages, we got the prompt, the text, we got the ID of that parameter, we got the model, which is GPT-4 Turbo, we got the session, which the email name. So now it's time to connect within our GPT model, right? Because we got everything right. Till now, everything is working perfectly. So first thing first, as you see in the reg body, we have everything here. So now what we can do, we can just grab this portion directly from here. So now it should be getting that properties. Now we're gonna make a try catch block here. Within the try catch block, I think no, it's already here. So here, before returning there, if there is no prompt is available, so we can just pass some condition here. Okay, so what's the condition we're gonna provide? We're gonna just provide two separate condition, which going to be, if we doesn't like in the prompt method, if we are no prompt is there, we are passing that message provide a prompt, that's it. And if there is no ID, so means if we are not passing that ID and prompt, we are going to pass the two error messages that like one is the provide a prompt and please provide a valid chat ID. So now if the ID and other properties is available, then what it's going to be happen, right? So now what we need to do, we need to create two separate formula here. So in the source, I'm gonna take a lib folder. So lib, so within that lib, I'm gonna grab that ChatGPT here. Okay, so within the lib, I'm gonna take one new file which will be chatgpt.ts. so now we need to grab that ChatGPT, and how we can grab that, let's go in the npm and search for OpenAI. So we're gonna use that OpenAI package to grab our ChatGPT functionality. Let's just copy that, and here I'm gonna install that one, and it's very simple to connect. As you see, we need to grab the key, OpenAI key, then we need to connect our API key, then we're gonna just export that one, and let's just make it here. So it will be const OpenAI, and it should be equal to new OpenAI, which should be coming from the OpenAI. And here in the parameter, in the function, we need to find that API key, and that API key should be process.env dot, remember the key name which we are providing, open API key. So we need to copy that and pass it that here. So that's our open API key is ready. You can make it export default, or you can directly make that as default export if you just feeling the way it should be better. So now is that OpenAI key. Okay, so now we are grabbing that our OpenAI key, and after that also, whenever we are having that OpenAI key, we need to write a query, right? So within that query, what it will happen, we can pass our GPT connection message here. So we will just make that query API.ts, and in the query API, we're gonna just simply write a function query, which also need to be an async function, not assert, async. Okay, so here we will pass some different value, right? We're gonna get that as prompt, and that prompt should be coming as a string. Then we will also get ID, which also coming as a string, and then we're gonna get that model also, which is going to be coming as a string. Okay, it should be here. Now here we're gonna pass a response here, so that response should be await, and that one should be coming from that OpenAI. OpenAI need to be imported from ChatGPT, the function which we are written here on that premises. So it should be OpenAI dot chat dot completion dot create. So that will be a function. Within function, we're gonna pass our object value by which we're gonna grab our requests. First, we're gonna pass the model, okay? Then we're gonna pass our messages, okay? Not the messages should be passing as an array. Okay, so in the messages we need to pass several scenario. First thing first, in that one object we need to pass our role model. So what kind of roles we are going to use. So in that scenario there will be two parameter here, like two object we need to pass. One is the role, system role, content, you are ChatGPT, a helpful assistant. Then the role, user, content, as it will work as in prompt. We need to pass that one in that latest scenario. And after that also we need to pass, now if you write something it will give the pop-up, you see the temperature. So means whenever it's giving us the pop-up properly, means it's connected properly, right? So that's why we can grab that the default value. So we will set the temperature 0.9, top underscore p1, max token should be 1000, frequency penalty and presence penalty should be 0. And after that, whenever we are going to have that responses, so then what is going to happen? After that it's gonna pass a response. So in that response should be response dot choices. It's gonna provide some choices. So we'll grab the first choices, because whenever you are asking something to ChatGPT, it's passing, it's transferring you several responses, but we are just grabbing the 0, 1 or latest. So it depends on the model how you want to grab it, but we want to grab it the first one, and then get the content. And so after grabbing that content, we're gonna also grab just pass an catch method. If in the catch method, if we're having an error, then also we're gonna pass that error message. And in the error message we're gonna just grab our simple message here, so which going to be say that ChatGPT was unable to find an answer for that error, and then we're gonna pass the error message. And after dealing everything, we're gonna just return our responses, right? And from here, as we are done everything properly, we're gonna make that export default, and we're gonna pass that query as a query value. So this is the function which will be responsible to grab everything from the GPT to give us the connection. And one more thing, it will be good if we can see some value in the sidebar. So now we are sitting in the route. So okay, when you finish the route, then we'll go and grab that. Or I think better we can grab also that one particularly. Let's go in the sidebar. We'll just drag the positioning here. So in the sidebar, we should be able to pass the session as we are having the session. Okay, not bad. So now here, right now, let's make that sidebar as a use client. What we should do, yeah, we will make that as use client, because we will grab the scenario is a client set library. Okay, so right now we're gonna just get our data should be session, and that one should be use session. Done. And then we're gonna grab our chat. Okay, so const, it should be chats, and also it will provide that loading. And that one we want to get that from that use collection, and that use collection also should be coming from that Firebase hook, because now what we need to do, we need to grab the data from the Firebase, right? Remember, in that instances we are keeping the data in the Firebase, but right now, because it's very useful to use that Firebase Firestore, that package is very simple and you can grab it properly. So it will be React Firebase hooks. So let's search for it. That one we are going to use. So within that React Firebase hook, we can directly connect our Firebase instances and then grab the data directly from there. So let's install that Firebase hook. And how we can use that? There will be some documentation. Let's go in the GitHub. Okay, authentication hook, Firestore hooks. Okay, that's the Firestore. Okay, now you can have an idea, see how you can get the value loading, and you can just get the grab the collection and you can grab the data. So that's the same scenario we're going to use here. So how we can do that? We can use the use collection from that our Firestore. So should be imported directly here. Okay, so that should be use collection, and within the collection we will pass our session, because if we doesn't have the session, we don't want to, because right now what I'm doing here is to grab that, I'm just going to log in with an account so that I can show you. Okay, there is a server error. I think something getting mistaken. Okay, I'm gonna keep it there. I'm gonna show you, because right now I'm gonna get the data in that sidebar. So that's the one which we're going to create. So if we have the session, we're gonna set the query, and query should be coming from that Firestore, and then we're gonna grab other parameter. So in the query, because that query also getting from the Firestore, so now on that query we're gonna pass that collection, and within the collection we will connect our DB, and in the DB we're gonna grab our users, right? So in that users, now we will only pass that session user dot email, okay, which is going to be as a string. Don't use that exclamation mark. It will now having an error with the like versal. So try to use that as a string. That's the perfect one. And now here you will refer the chats. So now after passing the chats, we will also passing a order by, and within the order by we're gonna pass that created at, and we're gonna make it as ascending, so ASC. Done. So now we should be able to get the chat. You can log it and you're gonna see how we are grabbing that data. So now if we just also, we're gonna grab that router. So const router should be use router coming from that next navigation. Now here use effect, we're gonna just passing one more calculation here. Like if we doesn't have that, like if we have no chats available within a particular ID, then what we're gonna do? So we will just make a dependency here, and that dependency should be chats and should be router. Means if we doesn't have any chats available for that user, like if we doesn't have chats for that particular users, what we want to go, we want to router dot push, like that things why need to check, like if you are clicking delete the last one for that particular user, like last message, then it will stuck on that. It will gonna hold the scenario on that because the ID is in the parameter, so ID is not deleted but my chat is deleted. So what I'm gonna do, if that particular chats is not available for the no more chats is available for that user, directly push that, because if we have, it will just if immediately take the next one, but if it doesn't have a chats at all, it's gonna directly take us to the home. Okay, so now it's time to show us the chat. So how we can show that? First, before showing the chat, we also need to grab that chat model. Okay, so after that new chat or after that div, we can grab it here. Okay, the model we're gonna show it later, but I'm gonna pass that. So in the div, it should be that selection model. So that will be coming here in the selection model, and also I'm gonna just pass that class name. It will be hidden MD, it will be inline flex, empty should be 4, just to keep it aligned. And after that selection, we should be able to grab our chat parameter. So now here you're gonna write a condition: if the session dot user is available, only then. Okay, only then we're gonna pass that. And also here we're gonna write another separate condition. If session user is there, the history that we're gonna give a p tag should be written here, chat history. So let's put it, and if no user is available, then we're gonna pass that other parameter. So that will be this parameter. Okay, done. So means if we have the user, then we're gonna show us the chat history. Like if we just make that interpolation, so no user, then we're gonna make that please sign in to view history, sign in. Okay, so that's the way we're gonna convert it, and we're gonna make it happen to work. So now we have session user, so we got the chat history. So in the chat history also we're gonna make one simple condition if there is no loading, because sometimes it will take time to load the data, and that time the chat is there but it's still loading, but you see the chat history like no chat is available, please sign in to view the chat history. So if there is a loading also it will stop. Only if there is no loading, no chats, then it will say like no loading, no session, only then it will provide that message. So now in that scenario here in the chat history, so let's just grab it here, put a class name, text by default is getting white, HITE, margin top should be 4, and padding X should be 2, text should be SM, font should be medium. Okay, so the chat history. Now we're gonna grab another div here after instance of that. So in the div, if there is no loading, okay, if there is no loading, so means we're gonna grab another div, we're gonna show the chats, right? And if there is a loading, we want to show some loader, so we will get another div. Oops, should be loader. So means see the loader is going to come as loader if there is no chat. So I think, yeah, if there is loading, oh okay, we are in a, I think, yeah, we made a mistake. If there is loading should be loader, if there is no loading should be passing the chats. Okay, you see, if I just hit reload, okay, loader chats. So yeah, that's cool, but don't worry, we're gonna fix all over together, so it will just jamming over there, so no worries on that. So now here for the chats, how we can grab it, so we also going to write a component here which is going to be chat raw dot tsx. Okay, so now if we have the chats, what we're gonna do is that right now that's the one condition, we can keep it here. So we can say if we have chats dot docs dot length, if we have that length, only then we can pass that. So and otherwise we will pass a simple parameter. So means sometimes you should not have the chats, right? So maybe you have login but you doesn't have the chats, so that time we're gonna pass that no chat history available. And if we have the chat history, that time we're gonna make that chats dot docs, and we're gonna go with that map formula. So it's gonna be mapping, and then we're gonna get a chat, and also you're gonna get the index. So here we're gonna inline return here that chat raw, and the key should be chat.id, and also you're gonna pass the id should be chat.id. Okay, you see we have 3 chats, so 3 ID is available. And right now I think index is not required. We're gonna see if it's required, then we're gonna pouring up. So now we are having that chat raw. So what we can do is that we can start modifying a bit for the chat raw. So before modifying, let's go here to the class name, margin top should be 4, and overflow y should be scroll, and height I'm going to provide 80% of height of the parent. What's wrong? What I am typing? 80%. Okay, so now for the loader, and for the loader which we are going to, if there is a loading, so now I'm gonna just roll back to make it in a loading instances. So now the loader is happening. So here in the loader I'm gonna provide a simple scenario, right? How we can provide, we're gonna grab an array, and from the array we just grab the array from, and the length we're gonna define the length. So the length should be we're gonna just pass a 10 length by default, and now we can map from there. Okay, we're gonna take an underscore for the value and also taking the I. So let's have a return, and we're gonna just return a self-closing div. Okay, for right now keep it that div. So let's put some class name on the div. Key should be I, and for the class name, width should be full, height should be 8, and rounded should be MD. Shrink should be 0, animate should be pulse, BJ should be zinc of 800. So now as you see, there is a pulsing effect is going on, and for that particular instances, let's just go and make the things to be much more better. Put a class name should be flex. Flex should be in column proportioning. Flex should be 1 to grab the entire skin parameter. Space Y should be 2. Okay, and overflow should be auto. Hit save. So now as you see, there is an just animation effect is going on. So now if there is no loading, we should be grab our properties, right? So the chat row we need to generate and keep it in a good way. So the chat row should be coming with much more affectionate way. So we will make it in a little bit dynamic way, how much further we can go through it. So first we can grab the ID. So that will be our ID, and we can just grab it within the ID properties. So ID should be as coming as, I think that one, it should be as a number, or how we are passing. We are passing the chat ID, which is not a number, which is going to be the string. So a string. Okay. So now here we can also, because as by default our sidebar is already is the use client, so we don't need to grab that as to make it as use client. So now what we're gonna do in the chat row, we need to calculate so many other scenario. First we're gonna get the path name. So path name should be use path name from the React navigation, and after that also we're gonna grab the router. Const router should be use router, not from the next router, should be from the next navigation again. Okay, and then we're gonna grab our session data, and also we're gonna grab a 2 parameter. So with that same scenario we can just pass that value. So now we can pass the use session to grab our session, and for the use state to set the active value, or so on. So now we need to grab the message, right? So how we can grab that? Remember, we already write a function to grab the messages here in the sidebar. You see that? So that's the messages we can use directly to grab the properties right now here. So only that we are not going to set it as order by, because right now is already order by default. So now the collection, grab the collection and pass the DB. And also need to grab our collections. So now we should be able to grab the data right now here within that instances. So it will grab all the chats available here. So now what we're gonna do is that right now we will set first, before setting that, let's just show us the active value if we're having any chat, right? So instead of that particular div, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna wrap that everything within a link parameter, right? So, and why I'm doing that, I'm gonna just explain you in a bit, because for that href we're gonna just go with that, because whenever we click on that particular parameter, we should be able to route the user should be within that ID, the ID which we are providing here. Okay, so now still we doesn't have any. So now we will make one separate several scenario. So first thing first, we're gonna make that IO chat box outline. So one icon should be available here. As you see, the 2 particular icon is available, and for to make it looks a bit cooler, I think for the chats, was what we did wrong here. I think for the chat row, what we can do more is that. So let's go in the link. gonna put some class name here. Okay, so it should be flex, gap should be 2, and item should be center, justify center, padding x should be 2, and padding y should be 1.5. and whenever we're gonna, like, first we're gonna make it VJ white of 10% opacity. Okay, cool. Yeah, and also margin top should be 2, over BJ white. I think, yeah, first I'm gonna make it as background as transparent, right? BJ transparent. So once we hover, you should be able to see that. Okay, cool. And also we're gonna make it as rounded MD, and the duration for that transparent should be, and it should be easy in. Cool. And now we will also set, I think better if we're gonna have that cut it. I think, yeah, because we need to also set an active value here. So I'm gonna cut that one, or we can just put that conditioning value here, because right now we should also check if the active one is available. So which one is active, that one going to be as a background of white of 10, otherwise the BG will be transparent. So we're gonna set an active variant value. How we can set that? We can just simply make that use effect scenario here to grab that active one, which one it should be active. So to have that active one, okay, what are you gonna say? If no path name, if no path name is available, then it will not work. Okay, then return. Only it will work if the path name is available. If path name is available, set active. Which one are you gonna active? Path name dot includes, and if the ID is available, includes within that scenario, that time it will be the active one, and set ID. So right now there is nothing is selected because we are in home route. If we click, you see we are in the active route. If we click, the which one is active is getting selected, right? So that's the scenario which we have been creating right now. So we have one proportion here. Now after that we're gonna grab another p tag, and in that p tag what we're gonna do is that you can grab the messages, the message which the chat message which we are providing here. Now what we're gonna do is that, because this is the chat, so now we will pass a different value. So what we're gonna do, because sometimes the messages should sometimes be available or not, so we're gonna get 3 scenario here. Okay, one thing is that chat, where is the messages? Oh, sorry, that should be changed as message. Okay, and here instead of directly getting that, so we should not we should be getting that scenario here. So as we are just copying the previous one, it will not be that one. We should be copy that messages which from the use collection. So you're gonna go and grab the DB from the users. It will just directly get from that according to the email, and then the chats, and we're gonna passing the ID, then grabbing the messages. So we're gonna grab the messages directly here. So that's the one, it should be available. And in the chat it will go the messages talks, the first, the last one which the data is available, that one. If this available, then it will get the chat, right? Now the chat text means if there is a chat.text means this one is available, that time only the chat text, otherwise, so otherwise it's getting that new chat. So that's the things. If there is a chatting message, once you are passing that as a new, like I'm gonna show you right now, if we just pass that chat message, I think should be chat text, we should be able to see, as you see, the new chat means we are not reading any of the chat, so it's a new chat is coming. So whenever we're gonna have a chat, it should be provide our accurate chat. Now also the should animate effect we're gonna use once we are going to make it as a using with the framer motion. But right now we're gonna just keep it as simple as possible. So after that particular p tag, also we're gonna get one solid trash alt, yeah, trash icon, save. So now we should be able to grab 3 properties all together. As you see, Okay, cool. So now here, to make it looks more better, we can also pass something like that. You see? Okay, cool. So now what we need to do, as you see, we have that p tag. We need to grab some class name to make it looks better. So put a class name here. We're gonna make that by default it will be hidden. MD should be inline flex, and then we also going to make as truncate so that it will be within a single line align. And after that we're gonna make that it should be flex 1 to take over all the spaces, and text should be, I think text should be SM, small text, and font should be medium, and tracking should be white. Done. You see? So that's the selected one and that's the affected one. So now we're gonna make two more scenario. First one, it should be to grab what is going to be happen once we click on that particular our trash icon, right? So that's the icon. So here should be affecting going to happen two scenario. One should be that whenever we hover, that effect going to be coming, and another should be handle remove chats. So that icon should be responsible to remove the chat from that particular scenario. So const handle remove chat, which going to be also an async function. A synchronous function should be working on that instantly. And here we should be await, and then we will make that delete. I think delete documentation should be await. Yeah, delete doc. And from the delete doc we're gonna connect our DB here, and from the DB we're gonna connect our users. And here we're gonna get the session.user.email as a string. Then we're gonna pass that parameter. We're gonna go and grab that chats, and within the chats we're gonna pass the ID. Okay, so that's the where it gonna just go and replicate that scenario. So in handle delete dot, so okay, what's wrong with that? Await delete doc. So we're getting the document doc here, and we're connecting our DB. Then we are passing our email as a string. What is written here? Expected 1 arguments but got 5. Oh wow. Oh, that should be because we must have made something. So delete doc, yeah, we didn't pass the document, like actual doc we didn't pass, right? So yeah, that should be less cut. We also need to pass the doc, and within the doc we need to pass our parameter. Okay, done. So now here we also need to set the default active, right? If the one which we delete, if it's the active one, what we're gonna do? We're gonna make that const next chat, because we need to make the next one as active, right? And should be chat chats. I think we also need to provide a snapshot equal to chat snapshot. So we're gonna grab that scenario here to create our chat snapshot. So it will be chat snapshot, and we're gonna pass that as order by. So it's gonna go and find user session user email as a string. It's gonna capture every single one. So we can just use that hook right now to grab the next scenario. Okay, so you're gonna go snap that chat snapshot, and here if there is a doc it will be there is a docs available, and then it's going to be find with that find doc find, and here here it will be chat, and within that parameter that one should be chat.id is not equal to ID. So means now here what you're doing, the next chat is happening. So if there is the chat available, the chat snapshot, so means we are having all chats available here. So we are finding all the chats which is not equal to id. So whenever we're going to delete that one, it will go remove that, right? So it will be not equal to the selected one. So that one we're gonna grab that. So now if next chat means that one deleted and another chat is available, then what we're gonna do, if the next chat is available, we're gonna make that router dot push, and that push, it will be just simply gonna pass that on the next route. That will be that the next chat.id. So we're gonna passing that. And else if there is no chat available, means if there is no next chat, means that was the last chat, right? So now what you're gonna do, router dot push. So it will just directly push that towards the home page. So now if the active one deleted, that one it will go, the default one should be active. So I'm gonna just create some more chats. Okay, you see that one is active, right? And if we delete that one, see the next one, the last one active. If we delete that one, see that one is active, right? You cannot see it properly. I'm gonna just highlight that one and I'm gonna make it like as a 30% opacity so you can see it very easily. Okay, selected. Why it's not coming? It's active. What's wrong here? Let's just reload maybe. Okay, where I'm doing that, yeah, make 30%. Okay, so if it's active, should be 30%. See, now if I remove that one, you see other one active. If I remove that one, another one is active. So that's the way it's working. Now here one more tuning is need to work. As you see here, that chat is working. So here we will make some dynamic chat reflection, but before doing that, before making that unique scenario, let's go to grab our chat proportion. Like in the router, we need to get our chat first, right? Otherwise it will not working in the same way which you're expecting. Here what we're gonna do, const response, and that response should be await. And remember, we made one query here from leave query API. So that's the query need to import it here. You see in the top, so that's the query is coming from there. And in the query API, what we're gonna do, we're gonna pass that our, remember, we're taking the prompt there, we're gonna taking the ID there, we also getting the model there. We're gonna getting the 3 set of scenario here. Oh, okay. What's wrong? Okay. Okay. That's that should be in the top layer. Should be here. Okay. So now if we go in the query, we are passing prompt, ID, and model. So that's the one also we are passing here directly. So means everything is good to go. Now we are having the response. So now we are going to also make a message here. So should be const message, and that message we're gonna just create an object on that. So within object we're gonna pass the text, and that text should be response. If response is available, otherwise also we're gonna make that one dummy message which is going to say as ChatGPT was unable to find an answer for that. Done. So that will be text, and after that we will also pass that created at, and that created at should be admin admin.firestore. So that admin also we need to import at the top, so it should be import admin from Firebase admin. So for the admin proportion we should be passing that firestore dot, and here should be the timestamp dot now. Okay, that will be the created at properties. And for the user also, we're gonna pass a different value here. For the user, we're gonna pass an ID. So the ID underscore ID should be GPT. It should be ChatGPT. And here we're gonna also pass a name, which is going to be also ChatGPT. And for our avatar, for the ChatGPT avatar, we're gonna pass one avatar here. So that should be that one. So you can just go and grab that URL and find that avatar also if you want to use that. I think we keep one more. So now here we have the message, right? So we need to pass the message within that parameter. But now, before going to have that, first we're gonna go in our direct with our admin DB, right? So whatever the messages we are getting from instantly from the ChatGPT, we need to pass the message to our collection, right? So it will be await admin DB and here dot collection. Okay, so in the collections we will mention that collection should be our users collection, and from that user collections let's hit the doc, and in the doc we will grab our session, and within the session we will also make the collection, which the collection it will be the property of chats. So on the chats property, chats, and on the chats property we will also grab the doc. The documentation will grab within the chats ID, and then we're gonna get another collection, which is the collection it will be messages, and within the messages we are going to add our messages which we have been created at the top. So now that's the messages when it's created at user ID name avatar we're gonna pass, then we're gonna grab and pass that in our admin. So now we have our admin database that everything is going to be connected, right? So now here we're going to also pass the answer, and the answer should be messages dot text. If there is messages, the text should be the answer parameter, should be a comma. Okay, done. A and S should be A and S answer. Okay, so now here what is going to be, if is everything working perfectly and quite good, we should be able to receive some messages, right? And to grab that messages, let's just go and grab it here. So should be coming in our what's the chat and paste.tsx here. So okay, so we should be able to see or we can just check our database there, by which we can grab something. So right now if we are generating something, first I'm gonna delete those, not require. So hi GPT, enter. You see the GPT is thinking something went wrong, please try again. Okay, we'll try, no problem at all. Did you save that? Oh no, we are not working on that. Still we are not grabbing anything. Okay, ask ChatGPT, we got an error here, so let's just inspect that one. Let's see what kind of error we are having right now. Okay, so in the console, error loading message token. Okay, internal error. Okay, we are going to empty cache and hot reload. So also get in the route. So let's see, did we miss anything? What we should have missed? We got our rec body and we're getting the prompt ID model session. Okay, await rec body if prompt there. We're passing the next response if ID is there. Okay, response await. So await query, we're gonna get query prompt ID and model, and we're passing our message. And after the message we are awaiting the admin. I think it should work properly. Yeah, there should not be any error. Answer is getting the text. Okay, again we are trying. Hello GPT. Okay, now we will be able to see what's the wrong is here. And in the network, let's see to find ask GPT. Okay, 500 internal error. What kind of error is that? Okay, let's have a preview. Nothing. Okay, that's the payload. Hello GPT, model GPT turbo. Okay, let's just check here if anything is happening around side here. Okay, so that's the chat. In the messages, anything happened? Okay, hello GPT. So we are able to pass that, but we are not receiving any response. And from where is coming? Let's just check the message again, so we can go and grab and find the way why it's happening. We can just write anything. Hey, something went wrong, please try again. So where is that? GPT unable to answer. And I think that message is coming from here. Yeah, something is that so. From where we are passing that message? Let's just check in chat input. Chat input, from here. So from here we are grabbing that message that something went wrong, please try again. So means we are having issue within our chat input properties. So now we need to find a way to configure that. How we can do that? We're going to fetch ask chat ask. We're gonna passing the method headers. Good. I think the error is not aligned in a proper way. I think sometimes it can be happen because of that. This answer is not required for us. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just reload. I'm gonna stop and restart the server again. Let's try this time if it's working or not. So let's go in the home and we're gonna try to create a new chat here. Let's try hello GPT. Enter. So now ChatGPT is thinking, and here, yeah, ChatGPT has responded. So now we should be able to see a response here. If I see my document here, so in that particular email in the chats, and here we have one parameter which is the message, and on the messages we had two messages actually. One is for that's the message which we have been sent it, hello GPT, and the response is coming directly from GPT, hello, how can I assist you today? So means our GPT is responding. So now here what we need to do, especially we need to, what I'm gonna do is to close everything, close all, and I'm gonna go in my page here where I need to create one chat, right? So let's create one components here named chat.tsx or fce. So now this chat, it will be responsible to grab all the chat responsibilities here in that particular instances. So here instead of direct chat, we're gonna just grab that chat and also need to import it from the component, and here we're gonna pass our ID also. So the ID should be our ID. Okay, so now we should be able to grab that chat and we can just go and work with it. So what kind of things we're gonna grab it here? First thing first, let's just define that properties. So the ID, which going to be the ID as a string. Okay, so now first again here we'll make it as the use session properties because we need to use the collection and other parameter here also, or we can make it as the, okay, we will try to get the session from that server side. Let's see if it's working or not, just to have a test. So const session is equal to await out. Hit save. Okay, so right now we're gonna get the user mail parameter, which okay, we need to use that because we will be using that scroll effect, and for that we need to using the reference here, and also we're gonna using the reference. Of course, we need to make it as use client. Okay, so yeah, we'll get the client side interactivity, and here we will make to grab that as use client. Okay, so right now also we're gonna sense one property here, so that user mail user email should be session user email, otherwise it should be unknown. And for the messages, again we need to just grab that query here, which, because remember previously we are especially in the sidebar, so in the sidebar we're grabbing here in the sidebar on that particular chat row, we're getting the messages, right? So we're not using the loading here. Okay, so the same parameter here, we are going to grab this one, so that's the messages which we are intending to use. So we're gonna grab that use collection, and for the query it will get the query, and for the collection, okay, oops, it should be not that one, collection, and let's connect our DB here, and also we can make it as arrange it as order by. So now we have our message here. Also we're gonna create one more component here, which will be message.tsx messages. It will be provided here. So now in the chat we should be okay. We are not signed in. Please sign in. What's wrong here? I think did we miss something? Cannot, okay, remove children. What's wrong? Yeah, we was locked out. Okay, let's go and sign in again. Yeah, we restart our server, so that time we was sign out, but still in that our particular ID, it was just capturing that we have the session. Okay, no chat history. Okay, so now let's try to type one chat. Hi GPT, how are you? So it should be creating okay, async await is not supported in client components, server components. Okay, where is that happening? Let's see any messages here. We are doing it as use client component, so should be making maybe sidebar. In the sidebar on the chat row, no. So where we're doing that, so especially in the sidebar, everything was in the places, so it should not be happening. Chat input, we didn't take that one. This one, the chat, yeah, because we keep it as async. We didn't remove that concession because we are using at the use client library. Okay, yeah, we are using at the use client. So yeah, we need to remove that async parameter. We just removed await, but we did the async one, it was still there. That was the problem. Okay, hello GPT, how are you today? Let's hit enter, and if we can grab something. Okay, you can see, I think response we locked, so the response we can see. Now no history is available here. That's the crazy things. Why is no history available? Okay, in the route I'm gonna just remove the console from here, one console here, and that's the response console. Okay, so in the sidebar, why we can see that, let's see, maybe we are putting one conditioning effect here. So if loading, okay, if there is no chat, if the chat docs length is available, we are passing that chat row, otherwise no history. Okay, so let's just see why that no chat is available. and we can just view it here. It's console. Okay, it's an empty array. What is there? Firebase right channel. Bad request we're getting here directly. Why? So it's getting from React Firebase hooks, Firestore. Yeah, what's wrong here? We saw it already, it was working, but why is not working right now? Oh, it's working, but the problem is it's working if we go back home and if we click on the new chat, that time it's working, but if we're just creating the chat directly, that time is not working. Okay, we will fix that. But we find the solution here. Where is the error is happening? So I think it's happened because of the chat input here. So maybe we missed something. Chat input. Yeah, I think we are having the send messages. I think we are making maybe remove something. Yeah. Okay, let me just see. Try if we have the prompt, no prompt return message, try loading. Okay. If we doesn't have the ID, okay. That's the one is happening. This chat document ID is equal to ID. So if no ID, so that time const ref await at doc collection db users email user email, then we are passing the chats. The user ID should be user email and created as server stamp, and here chat document. I think here here we make the misspell here. So that is the one which is corrupted. Okay, let me just go and see. Yeah. That should be aligned together, but it was just interpolating one by one. I think that's the one having the problem. If we go back home and if we try hello GPT, ChatGPT is thinking. Yes, this time it's work, but you see that 3 ratio is here. So that I think that MAO. No, there is something problem. Something is messing up here. So you can create more creativity the way you want to affect it here, the way you want to show it here. It depends on you. So you can go back to the home page, you can create separate scenario. If you want me to sign it to and to just grab a different account, it will be same thing, it will go and grab the history. So let's go and sign in, go with these properties and continue here. As you see, after just sign in, I'm getting all my properties, and if I click in particularly, it's having there. I can also delete if I want. So now both things in the perfect scenario all are working perfectly. So that depends on you, how you want to create your GPT clone, how you want to like to make things, and how you want to fetch the data. It totally depends up to you, but there is still rooms to develop. You can feel free to knock me in the room, like in the chat room, so you'll go and do something like which you can really be helpful by having some of the answers, and within that scenario you can just grab your potential, how you can achieve more by creating those kind of development. So I think this is the similar pattern of the GPT clone which we create today. So now if you are for the deployment, if you are willing, if I get 5 to 10 requests to deploy that in Vercel, I'm gonna just go through it and show you how you can deploy it in Vercel, and that's very simple and easy. So all the best, hope you can finish that project within time and make this happen like as your own GPT clone. So all the best, we'll see you in next video.